himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry.
Sorry about that, everyone. Welcome back to the JPP channel here today for the second round of the TSRC Road to the Grand Finals. I got a bit early, a bit ahead of myself there on the stream, but we are back. Obviously, coming over from round 1 at Nürburgring. We're here tonight at the Imola International Circuit, a great track here in Italy. Joining me is Michael. Hello, Michael.
Nathan, good afternoon. How are you doing? I guess good evening to you, actually.
Yeah, even to me. Afternoon to you. Yeah, I'm doing very good. Obviously, you wasn't here last round. You missed quite a bit, to be fair. For the first round, we had a lot of action at the Nürburgring. Lots of incidents. We had that change at the end for the lead. I think it was Benjamin leading by about 8 seconds. He got that 10-second penalty after an incident with one of the lapped cars. Obviously, that wasn't very good for them. You don't want to get a penalty and lose the win due to a lapped car. Then that gave the win to the F1 Memes racing team. So they're obviously leading the championship now. But yeah, it was a really decent race. We had lots of battling, especially with the car 678, one of the Armamentarios. They qualified P2. They was sitting in P2, had a spin, and then it kind of, in a way, unfolded for them. They got involved in too many incidents. They had penalties left, right, and centre. But near the end, they brought themselves back up to P4. But yeah, Michael, if you didn't see it, you missed out on quite a lot. But obviously,
yeah, I'm a little perturbed. I missed that because I absolutely love that track too. So I'm excited to see some good GT3 racing tonight, though.
Yeah, we're coming in now to near the end of qualifying. Obviously, we started off wet here, so that's why some drivers still haven't got any representable times in, because they're still working on, you know, the track evolution and getting a decent time on the board. At the moment, it's Brunschitz at the top of the timing board. He's leading on a 43.690. Daniel didn't race at the last round, so it's his first time racing here, and he's doing a pretty good job at the start. And then we have Benjamin Lang in second, only 45 thousandths off. He's actually up by 5 tenths on his lap. Obviously, you know, Team 1 leading, lost it due to the penalty, so they've got something to work on today. They've got to get themselves at the race when they should have got back in the Nürburgring. And then looking down, we've got Ryabkov in third. He's just gone off, actually. Car number 96, they did a pretty decent job. I believe they finished in P4 last round. And then we have the final podium sitter from round 1, the Team Shazoo racing team. That is Mattia De Campo and Luis Zelch. They qualified, I think, in about 6th or 7th, but worked their way up because they avoided near enough every bit of every bit of action and chaos. Got themselves up to P3, so they did a really good job. So obviously, at the moment, P5 will be looking to improve on that. As you can see, realistically, the grid is quite close. P1 down to P10, 5 tenths. P4 to P6 is just 40 thousandths of a second. And obviously, we've got many people on the improvements. We've got Brunschitz on a 4-tenth improvement, Lang's on a 5-tenth improvement, and as he comes up towards the line, there we are, P1. But Michael, is there anyone you're looking out for today in this grid?
Yeah, I think I'm going to look out for Benjamin Lang here. Our current professional pole sitter, the 144 car there. Him and Julian Fox. I knew you were saying they caught a penalty right there at the end of the session for the first race. But, I mean, up 8 seconds, that's an absolutely barnstorming, race there. So I think with the pace that they have right now, showing that the provisional pole, we come very close to the end of qualifying here. I think we got, about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the car to beat today. Hopefully they're able to stay out of any penalty troubles, but clearly that Porsche has quite a bit of pace, especially around here, around Imola.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, if you can look on the left side of the screen, you can see most people are in either a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. We have got a couple of Porsches in, and I think we've got 3 Porsches, 1 McLaren, and 1 BMW M4. So, yeah, most of it is Lamborghini and Ferrari, but we've got a couple others in to see. We'll see how they can do. Obviously, Lang and Fox was in the Porsche, and they did a really good job. So it could be the matter of the fact that the Porsche is hard to drive, and obviously maybe if you can drive it well, it helps because it has for them. And yeah, there's lots of different factors that I think come into play. It could be the fact of the style of the car. The Porsche can be quite oversteering. It's not very planted. It's quite a lively car compared to a car such as the Ferrari and the McLaren, which are a lot more planted. You know, you don't need to worry too much about, you don't need to worry about too much about the corner exits and the entries because they got very high downforce. So yeah, it all comes down, I think, to driver preference as well. And obviously, the BOP on this game is sometimes not the best. So, you know, some cars might just have that advantage due to the way they're coded into the game. But obviously, we're coming now on to the end of qualifying. We've got 1 minute to go, and we've got many drivers on improvements. We've got Schubach, he's on an improvement, and Pamfirov there goes to the top with a 142.940. Originally, we were thinking we'll see around the 140s, maybe a very high 39, but unfortunately, we haven't got that yet because of the fact we started in the wets. But coming through, Michael, these times are just crumbling down. At the moment, I think anyone in this top 10 could try and take pole.
Yeah, I think with the track obviously rubbering in a little bit more, obviously it's nowhere near as wet, so I think these track times are definitely going to be coming down. I think we're a little too far off with a little too, not enough time to really see the low 140s, but these times I wouldn't be surprised to see a low 141, possibly a high 140. But these times are definitely going to be coming down. I think it's a wide open qualifying at this moment. We only have 30 seconds left, so it's all about getting to the line. I think this group here that we're seeing, the 7th place Rybakov coming through, he is going to be very close to whether or not he's going to be able to get one more lap time in, but that's going to be so crucial for these drivers as the track really starts to open up here at the very end of qualifying.
Yeah, it's coming down to the to Ravazza at the left-handers. He's currently up by 9/10 of a second, so looking to try and take that pole position away from Schubach, but there's many other people in improvements as well, so we'll go through now out to the final corner with Ryabkov. We'll see, can he get himself onto that provisional pole position as he comes up towards the line? So we're looking for a 141 maybe as he comes up. It's a 142.3 there, does nab that pole position barely. Polyakov is down in 3rd, he can't improve anymore. Schubach's down on his time. We've got Whitford though, he's up by 4/10. We'll see what he can do now as he comes out of the final corner at Ravazza 2. Ooh, it's going to be close. I think he might just take that P2. I don't think it's good enough for P1. He comes up towards the line. What will it be for Whitford? It will be... He'll be P3 there, just a 10th off the pole position time. Stamankovic up into P7. Ian on, he's up by 3/10 at the moment. He's coming through in towards Aqua Minerale currently. Willemot is up. He's up by 7/10. He's looking to put himself onto that pole position. Can he get that pole position as he comes up towards the line as De Campo goes second? Willemot goes quickest. And there we are. Very nice from him. So he puts himself just shy of a 10th over Ryabkov, and Benjamin Lang, he should be on a good time as well. Where does he go? Up to the top there. Obviously, top pole position last week in, last week, a couple of weeks ago in the Nürburgring, and doing it yet again here in Imola. But Michael, as you come through, that was a great qualifying session, wasn't it? As I believe we still have one driver on a lap.
Yeah, we see Ian on here coming through at the very end of his lap, so we'll have to wait, but yeah, this has been a stunning qualifying. Obviously, so many different variables. We started off in the wets. Now we got the track drying out, and everybody was able to put in a real representative lap. Obviously, lower lap times or higher lap times than we thought, but up to 4th place there, 2/10 off. But continuing that dominance, we got Lang up front there, and it's just gonna be really tough for the rest of this field to catch that Porsche today, I believe.
It will. Yeah, the Porsche did such a good job last time that they pulled away very easily. Willemot, he is part of, I believe, is it Simply Race Esports? I believe he's part of. I'll have a little check on our sheet. Yes, he is. So he's teamed up with Ryan Woodrow in the number 3, the Ferrari. They did a pretty decent job last time. They qualified in the top 10, and they finished, I believe, in that top 5. I'm just having a little look. No, sorry, they finished 9th. So they didn't have the best race, to be fair. But they still took 55 points. They're 30 points behind the leaders at F1 memes. So, you think about it, yes, it's 8 positions apart, but it's 30 points. If they can get this P2 today, that can put them in a great position going into the next couple of rounds, over the likes of Shizou and the 3 Armamentarios. But we have the session about to start very soon. I'm not sure when it starts. But, Michael, would you like to look through the grid for us? And tell us.
No, this is definitely going to be very interesting here. We got Lang P1, Willemot's coming through in P2 here as we see Ermakov, there in P3. Unknown, we discussed him as he was coming through the very end of his lap there at the very end of the session, up to P4 there. Zelch in the 211 there in P5. Quite a few Lamborghinis up in the top 6 there, as we see Berzakovsky in P6 there as well. Cosford in the second Porsche that we'll see tonight down in P7. Schulbuck had a great lap going there, as we saw the timing tower just going crazy there, but finishing up in 8th place there. He was at one point up on the top of the screen, but unfortunate for him, unable to keep it up top there in the 55. Polikov coming through in P9. That's going to be the first and only McLaren that I'm seeing in the field tonight. So the 13 car, the only McLaren. Last week, I believe you said there were 2 McLarens. I thought we saw the Vides in the 41. I guess the Vides racing team is not here. They're not represented tonight. So the only McLaren in the field, P9, Polikov, Borodel in the only BMW, the 112 there in 10th place there. We got Steminakovic in P11 there in the Ferrari. I believe you said can you repeat how you had that, the G Camelli there?
Yeah, I believe it's G Camelli, yeah. I believe anyway.
In the 201 there. I do apologize. This is going to be my first time with these names, so if I get your name wrong, I do apologize. But Rodriguez there in 14th place in the 333 Lamborghini. Stazek in 14th in a Ferrari. I'm sorry, I had those backwards in the Lamborghini. Kula in the 15th spot there in the 2 car. I'm sorry, that's the 16th spot. And Aruba in 17th there. Kamath in 18th. And Mitchell in 18th. I'm sorry, my timing tower is getting a little out of whack there. I'm not sure if that's the stream that I'm seeing right now, but it's kind of messing with the numbers there.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it isn't sort of an issue on my end, but you got it pretty much right. Killer in 15th, and Ruby is 16th. Hemsoft in 17th, and Mitchell rounding out the top 18. Then in 18th, and we get going in about 2.5 minutes, I believe. So we're going to have a little look at a little bit of a talk about the championship itself. Obviously, this is the road to the Grand Finals for the VCO SimGrid Grand Finals. It's a 3-rounding championship, which will take place in November and December. And it'll be a mixed grid of GT3 and GT4. Obviously, there's 10 competitions, I believe, but this is one of them. And if you qualify in the top 3 of this championship, you will be given a secured spot in the GT3 class. P4 and P5 here will secure a slot in the Grand Finals in the GT4. 6, 7, and 8 will be given a shot in the GT4 playoffs. And then the top 3 in the GT4 playoffs will be awarded the final GT4 slots at the Grand Final. So obviously a lot to play for. Teams can enter as many championships as they like out of the 10. And obviously at the moment, F1 Means and Team 1 are looking pretty good in the top 2. Obviously they've got to keep that momentum up throughout this week as we look through the grid. I believe F1 Memes, they are starting...
9th place. Down in 9th place. So that's kind of a far back position for them. I'm a little surprised. Maybe with the track conditions changing so much there towards the end of qualifying, they weren't able to really get a true representative lap in.
Yeah, it's definitely not what they want. Starting in 9th. Obviously, their championship rivals at the moment is Team 1. They're starting P1 with Benjamin Lang so far on the 144 Porsche. So they've got a lot of ground to make up in this race. Obviously, the likes of Schubert, Cosford, Berzakovsky wasn't, in that. I don't think they was really fighting for much last round in Nürburgring, but tonight they've got a lot to fight for. I believe Berzakovsky was one of the first people to have an incident. A couple of laps in, he had a spin, made a bit of contact, so he had to go into the pits. And to be fair, him and his teammate, they made a pretty good job of working their way back up the field in the 1-2-1, which is sitting with Panfiorov. And yes, I'm sorry if I say any names wrong. Yeah, they are quite difficult to pronounce. But we have 30 seconds to go. Michael, do you think that Lang will lead into what, or do you think maybe someone else, maybe Willemot or Ermakov, can get the jump on him?
No, I really think, like I said earlier, this field is going to have a hard time keeping up with Lang. Put in an absolutely stunning qualifying lap there as we come to the final couple seconds here before the session starts. I'm going to go ahead and assume we're going to have a full warm-up lap coming around the field. Is that correct, or are we just going to go straight into the race here?
I believe there is normally a warm-up lap, but we'll see.
Yep, here we go.
As we go off.
There we go. This is going to be... Yeah, I really think as long as he's able to get his tires into a good temperature window here on this this warm-up lap here, this this formation lap, I think it's going to be really tough. Unless Willamette can get a great jump, like you said, I think it's going to be tough for this field to keep on to the back of that Porsche. Like you said, 8-second lead before that penalty, and he's starting on pole again this week. He's clearly very comfortable in that car. Very strong team, championship contenders. I really think that they're the car to beat this evening.
Well, I believe as well, we've had a bit of a change in the Team 1. They've got Julian Fox on the bottom right of my screen, so I believe they might, Julian Fox is racing. So he's going to be leading off for Team 1. Obviously, you have 3 mandatory pit stops. Every pit stop you do, you have to do a driver swap, and you can have a maximum of 110 minutes in the car. And I believe we do a 1 full formation lap. We'll see as we go through with Julian Fox now. Obviously, heading up now towards, I believe that is up towards Piratella at turn 9. As we go through currently. And to be fair, the Lamborghinis, they've had a pretty decent qualifying. 3rd down to 6th are all Lamborghinis. And then 2nd is a Ferrari. The next Ferrari is down in 8th. So it seems at the moment, the Ferrari doesn't seem like the strongest car in the field, because you've got 4 of them down 15th, 16th, 17th and 18th. So maybe the Ferrari isn't the best choice to race in tonight. But the Porsche, we've got 2 of those on the grid. We've got them sitting 1st and 7th. I believe last week they were sitting 1st. I think Cody Costa put his car in the top, I think it was 12th the other week in the Nürburgring. But we come through now up into Acqua Minerale with Julian Fox leading from Grant Willamette, who was in the top 10 last week. And you have Ermakov driving straight through him there, but obviously he'll have to back out and let him back through. And that is Mikhail Ermakov in the car 96. His teammate, Ryabkov. And obviously they did a pretty decent job to finish 4th in the last round. As we now come through in toward, well, out of the Varianti down in toward Ravazza now. And we have Matti De Campo. Obviously they're qualifying in the top 5. Shazoo finished in the top 3 in the Nürburgring. So obviously looking yet again to come on from another performance. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting race, isn't it, Michael? As we get ready, I believe, to begin the race.
Yeah, we're going to see the first laps here by Fox, Ermakov, and was De Campo. I think De Campo as well. So it's going to be quite a few different drivers that haven't put any representative lap times in qualifying, jumping into the start of this race. So it's going to be very interesting here. I'm going to have to take my prediction of Lang just absolutely dominating the beginning here, because obviously Fox is out there. So let's see what happens here into turn 1.
Yep, it's double file now. We have Fox
turn 2.
from, well, it is turn 2, from Willamette now as we get ready for the green flags. Oh, and Fox lifted off a little bit there. And I believe he's going to get going very shortly as we head up towards the start-finish line now. Everyone's raring to go, but Fox will lead them off down in towards turn 2 at the Tamburello chicane. Now, as we head down, when does the lights go green? They're still red, as you can see on the screen there. And very shortly, Fox will give it the green light and will put his foot down. There we are, green lights, and off he goes. Fox has a great start there already. Willamette having to cover off from Ermakov down in towards turn 2. And that's also Ian on getting involved with this battle in towards turn 2. So 3 wide here with, I believe, a couple of the Shizou car and the 202s who come through. Ermakov's took it from Willamette there, having a great start. We also have Ian on and De Campo find that someone off down there. I believe that might be Panfirov who went off down at the exit of the chicane. We're heading now in towards the Villeneuve chicane, and Ian defending heavily from De Campo now as we head down in towards Tosa. We're going to have a lunge from De Campo? No, we don't, but we have many battles from behind. Whitvet also sitting 3/10 back. He's going to be trying to get something to work as we now head up towards Piratella, but a pretty clean start. Bit of a battle behind who's that? That I believe is the Santo fighting with Rodriguez there, down for 15th and 16th position as we head up. This is for Tyre Racing Sims Esports. I believe actually they are teammates, but yeah, just a different configs of cars as we come through. Going a little bit wide there for the Santo, not what he would have wanted on that start. Already a second back from Stasak, who's also a second back from Stamankovic. And there we have Willamette getting through on Ermakov again. That was down at the exit of Acqua Minerale, so it could have been Ermakov going a little bit too deep there, a bit wide, and it's allowed Willamette to get himself back through. But Fox now leading by over a second after the first lap of the race.
That was an excellent start. Sorry about that. Excellent start there. Everybody getting through very clean as we see a bit of a battle back there with that beautiful Porsche. We were both talking about this livery coming into this race here, but Woodvoet right there getting getting a lot of pressure here from behind from Polikov. But yeah, great start there. We saw a bit of a 2-wide, 3-wide battle there going into Variante Villeneuve, and it was just absolutely just stunning that these drivers were able to cleanly get through there the way that they were battling there. So hats off to all these drivers coming out here for the clean start of the race. So we see quite a bit of pressure there once again from that McLaren. He had to back off a little bit though, and that's going to put Bourdais right on his rear bumper, the only BMW and the only McLaren in the field. But I take that back. The McLaren is right back on the back end of that second Porsche, as we see coming down here into Tosa. And I expect that Porsche is probably going to be having a great exit out of there, very quick out of the turns. But we take a look back here at Kula. Quite a battle we got going on here for 10th place between Schuabuk, who has fallen back quite a bit. I believe he started off in 8th place there. He's fallen back into 11th or 12th place.
Yeah, it's not the side he would have wanted. I think he got into a bit of contact then at turn 2. But on turn 2 recently, it was, I believe, Polyakov and Whitvet making a bit of contact there. Bit of a tap on the rear from Polyakov, so that's not ideal. Luckily, the damage obviously is at 2 eyes. These cars can take a bit of battering, as we can see now. Ooh, a bit of defence there from Whitvet, nearly sending Polyakov onto the grass as they head down now in towards the first Ravazza, and we can see there, look at that, just Polyakov pushing Whitvet down into the braking zone, trying to go for a move. That's Whitvet going deep. That allows Polyakov to get himself up the inside there on the exit of Ravazza 2, put himself into the top 7 now. He's got to catch himself back up to Panfirov before Whitvet gets back onto his toes now. Borodite looking to get himself a bit of a move onto Whitvet as the Campo takes the fastest lap there on lap 3 of, well, 3 hours. We have 2 hours and 56 minutes remaining as we head down to turn 2 now. Borodite looking for a way past, can't get himself through. Obviously, these cars are quite big, so trying to make yourself a move into turn 2. Sometimes, unless you've got that big advantage, you're going to find it really difficult to get a run into there now. We head down towards the Villeneuve chicane now, and this is still Borodite going for an outside move, trying to go for a bit of a switch back there on Whitvet, but Whitvet in his Porsche defending really well. That Porsche really light, so he's able to get back in the power nice and early and defend easy now. Into Tosa, looking for a move around the outside from Borodite, but just couldn't get it to work, so now he's going to have to try and think of it again, down in towards Piratella. But then the question is for Borodite, if he can't get past by just a simple overtake on track, he's going to have to start putting pressure on Whitvet to get Whitvet to make a mistake, because he's 1.1 seconds back from Polyakov, so he's starting to lose time. So if Borodite wants to get through, he's got to either just try and outpace the Porsche and get himself through on track, or he's going to have to try and force Whitvet into some sort of mistake. Otherwise, he's going to be stuck behind, and the time's just going to crumble down and down.
Yeah, he's losing a ton of time here behind the Porsche. And it's honestly bringing some of these cars back into play here right behind him. So we see a train there of 1 Lamborghini and 4 Ferraris. So the Ferraris are starting to move themselves up the field a little bit. Schubuck up into 11th place there now. But yeah, it's that Porsche of Wilvet starting to become a bit of a a damper here on the race of Bourdais. He's gonna have to do something here quickly, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon. It might be wise for him to just kind of fall back a little bit and save some tire, but he's in a really tough position right now.
Here's a Schumacher now looking for a move on Giacomelli for P10 as they go down in towards turn 2. He's got the outside line there on the Lamborghini. Can't get his way through, so had to back off, and he made a mistake because that's allowed Kula right on his tail as they come out of the chicane, heading now down towards into the second chicane at the Villeneuve. And we'll see, does Kula get a move? I think he's got to go for it around the outside if he can get it. No, he can't. So he's looking for it, but just couldn't get it to work there as we come through now out of there in towards Tosa. And a great run for Kula. Does he go for an outside manoeuvre? I think he does. Tries to go for a switchback. Oh, and that's a late break in there for Schubert, nearly taking out the Lamborghini. That was a bit of a late break in, Michael. Nearly took the Lamborghini out.
Yeah, he definitely missed his braking point there by a mile. Able to keep it on track though. Loses position there to Kula, but definitely very lucky for Giacomelli there, because he really just escaped it with the skin of his teeth. That was such a tight incident there as we jump up to Campo, and Penfarov here battling it out here, trying to move into 5th place as Penfarov in the Lamborghini there. This Lamborghini, we see, what, 4 in the top 6 here? Very strong car here tonight so far here at Imola. really just outpacing outpacing the Ferrari so far throughout the beginning of this race. Obviously, we're only not even 10 minutes into this 3-hour race, but very strong car at the start here. As we see, I just want to point out there, Julian Fox out to a 1.5 second lead, a 1 4/10 second lead there. So absolutely stunning start there by the 144 car. So a little bit more of the dominance that we saw before from the last race, and obviously in qualifying, just at the hands of a different driver.
Yep, and yet again, that's Brodard trying to get through and Whitford down at turn 2, just can't get away past. Because this BMW, it's a bit like a big brick. You know, it's that big, you can't really force it through because of how heavy it is as well. You know, you've got to be very careful. You've got to brake a little bit early, otherwise you're just going to end up throwing it into. And also, Santo with a 10-second penalty. So that's for an incident I believe it could have been with Stazak. And as they made a bit of contact on the first couple of laps, and also it was Ermakov there, getting very close with Willamette as they come up in towards Piratella. And this bunch, second down to fifth, is really close together, as you can see there. De Campo at the back of this little train. The two with the green-coloured Lamborghinis now, as we head down in towards, shortly, Aqua Minerale. And Pamfirov in the 1-2-1, which I believe is part of Almonterio. They're sitting in P6, and obviously Polyakov, who's part of the F1 memes team, they're sitting in P7. So obviously wanting to improve on that, they want to be at least in that top 3 or top 4, considering, you know, they got their win last time out in the Nürburgring. You've only got 5 rounds, so you know there's not a lot of time really to make ground up. As we head now down into Ravazza, that is Ermakov on the inside of Willamette, just trying to find a way through. Can't get himself through yet. Actually, that's Willamette going very deep down at turn Ravazza down to the last couple of corners. That's allowed then Ermakov to get himself through, and also Inon right on the back of him as they come through out of the final corner up towards a bit of a kink at turn 1. Then we have turn 2, and look at them all crowding together now as we head down in towards the Tamburello chicane. Actually, Willamott's pulled himself back to the outside of Ermakov as we head down into the chicane, and that's also, I think, Inon trying to get himself involved when he come through there. Willamette is still stuck in third, so just couldn't outbrake that Lamborghini down into turn 2. It's also led De Campo to get very, very close to the back of Inon, but for now the positions stay unchanged. Ermakov in the Lamborghini up into P2. And you know, it's a matter of time before the other Lamborghinis can get through on that Ferrari, because the pace just doesn't seem that great on that Ferrari, does it?
No, the Ferrari just doesn't seem to have the grunt to really make any headway here tonight. Kind of like watching that BMW try to get around the Porsche. It doesn't really seem to be working tonight here at Imola. So they're going to have to try some sort of strategy or something, because that Lamborghini is just so strong. And Inon obviously having that fastest lap, so Wilmot's going to be under a ton of pressure here. As we take a look here at Giacomelli on the back of that BMW, Bourdais was really pushing for Whitfoot, but Whitfoot obviously back in 18th place had some sort of issue there, and now we jump up to 6th place here. The battle for 4th, as we see De Campo right on the back end of Inon. Inon under a lot of pressure here as we come into the first Ravazza. He's gonna have the inside. Oh, contact is made. They both go off, and that's gonna allow Pamfanov and possibly Pulikov through. Not quite for Pulikov, but man, that was a big incident there.
Yeah, that was a pretty big incident. Having a bit of contact on the left rear of the car sends you into the gravel. You lose so much time now. Polyakov looking to get himself through and in on as well now. Obviously starting to move his way up. Qualified P9. They're currently looking for a P5 so far. Going for the outside at the Tamburello chicane. Then he has the inside at turn 3. Oh, that was close to contact. And I think that was Inon on the curb there. Bit of contact. Nearly bouncing all over that curb was the Lamborghini. That's also going to allow De Campo to get himself through as well. Down now in towards the Villeneuve chicane. There we go. So now Inon dropping from 3rd down to 7th. That's not what he would have wanted at all. But again, a bit feisty on that previous lap. Now Polyakov into the top 5. He's now going to have to gain 1.5 seconds to get back into that train with Pamfirov. But he's doing a pretty good job. Obviously, he's qualifying top 5. They want to get a top 3 at the moment. That is very, very possible now as we head through in towards Piratella before we head down in towards Aqua Minerale. More battles are going on. This is Kulat fighting with Schubeck. It is Ferrari versus Ferrari. Obviously, Schubeck qualified 8th, and he's now down into 10th under pressure from the guy on 11th, so he's losing lots of time and just hasn't had that decent start he would have wanted. I think I think Fox might have been the only driver that actually swapped after the qualifying. I think everyone else did qualify and they started the stint, whereas Fox, well, they just wanted to put him in instead of Benjamin, which is a bit of a, you know, you got to think, why do you think they did that? Why do you think they put Fox over Lang at the start?
Oh, well, I do think that it was probably a wise choice here. Obviously, we're 6 laps in, and he's already 2.5 seconds up on Ermakov. I also think Ermakov, I believe it was Rybakov that took the 96 to 3rd place overall. So I think Ermakov is actually another one of those drivers that did not qualify. They just jumped in at the beginning of the race. But Julian Fox, you know, that was a great decision there between Fox and Lang to let Julian kind of take the start of the race. Lang absolutely dominated that qualifying session. And then so far, so good here for for Fox. But Ermakov took about 4/10 out of him on that lap with the fastest lap overall. So that is definitely going to be a little troublesome there for Fox. He's going to see Ermakov coming up on him the rear. But as we take a look at Kula trying to move up into the top 10, trying to make a move. Oh, I'm sorry, that is Schubach.
Yeah, can't quite get it done there. He was looking for it, but he just couldn't get it
cool.
through. It's Schubach, yeah, and Kula. They
Now,
got very close.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a very tight battle here, but it looks like Kula's going to have the inside line, and he's going to be able to take that spot here. So up into 10th place. The timing tower is not updated yet as we jump up front to DeCampo and Polikov. Polikov here having an absolutely stunning race, moving up from 8th place or 9th place on the grid up into 5th place, so already up in the top 5. That McLaren is very fast, and it's going to be very interesting to see what he's able to do, but DeCampo has also been very quick so far tonight at Imola, so this is going to be a great battle to keep an eye on. Yeah,
I noticed Poliakov's actually starting to lose a little bit of time to Panfirov. It's 1.9 seconds, 2 seconds now. The gap originally was about 1.5, so it seems, you know, he's had that boost at the start, but he's kind of sitting back, but he's also having to defend heavily from DeCampo, who's right on his tail. This is about P5 and P6. DeCampo, along with Louis Stouch, they finished 3rd in the last race at Nürburgring, sitting in 6th at the moment, would like to get themselves back up into that podium position. They're currently sitting in 6th, looking for a pretty decent top 5 at the moment on the back of Poliakov. Down into turn 2, can he get a move? I don't think he can, no, so he sits back. But yeah, that's the thing with, I think, obviously, for me, I've done a lot of Formula 1 commentary around here. When you're in a Formula 1 car, you've got the DRS, it's either just a power pass, and because of the way these cars are, you can just send it. Whereas with these cars, because of how big they are going into the corners, it's a lot more difficult just to send one up the inside, because you're bound to make contact. So that's why, here, you know, you can't just send those stupid lunges. You've got to sit back, you've got to be patient, you've got to wait for you to have that large advantage, which we've seen many times he drives down into that corner, but DeCampo, he just can't get close enough into that chicane to make a move, because if he did send it, they'd probably have their races a bit more ruined and they'd end up in the gravel. So obviously taking a bit more of a relaxed approach, but he needs to get himself through because it's 2.5 seconds now between Poliakov and Panfirov. So yeah, he needs to get a great exit out of Ravazza 2, follow that slipstream down in towards turn 2 at the Tamburello chicane, and he's got to get that move, otherwise he's going to start losing lots of time. And you know, once you start losing time, it's going to make it so difficult for him to gain it back up. As we now head through, down in towards Ravazza 1 and 2, and that's also a battle between Panfirov and Willemot. This is for P3, the final podium position. We're just 15 minutes into the race. We've got 2 hours and 44 minutes remaining, and already drivers are starting to fight for these key positions. Very, very hard now as we head down in towards turn 2 with Panfirov and Willemot.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a very strong battle between the two of them. Willemot obviously started up in 2nd place, but down into 3rd and gonna lose this position, it looks like, to Panfirov. Panfirov putting in a fastest lap on that one, and it looks like he's gonna have a great line into Tamburello here. Gonna have the inside and able to close that door, but he takes a lot of curbing there, and that's gonna compromise his exit. So Willemot was able to close back up on him, but had to back out a little bit himself as we jump back right behind these two. DeCampo trying to put a nose in on Poliakov, but unable to really make a move, has to back out as well. So this is a great battle here for 5th, 6th, and for 3rd and 4th. So excellent to keep an eye on this as we see Ermakov going through there just a little bit up the road. Looks like, yeah.
It's going great for this battle from third to sixth. Obviously, with that issue with Willemot and Pamfirov, it's allowed Poliakov now to gain back into that gap. So, you know, they're not 2.5 seconds back. They're 6/10 behind. So, no, it's not too bad for De Campo. He hasn't got to push through as instantly because he knows that the podium's right there, about 2 seconds ahead of him. So if he wants to, he can sit behind and just follow this train. Grab the slipstream, not be too harmful on the tyres by pushing and pushing. As we come down now in towards the further Vata, actually, Poliakov went a little bit wide. This is going to allow a bit of a door opening for De Campo around the outside into a Vata. Does he send it or does he sit behind? So he sits behind yet again. So De Campo obviously not being too eager to get through. He could have sent that one from there, but he chose just to sit back, keep that position of 6th. Obviously, the battle for 3rd is there, but he doesn't need to fight it too yet. We've got, 2 hours and 40 minutes remaining. You know, we're about, 1/20th into the race. You haven't got to worry too much about that podium position just yet. Just keep yourself consistent. And sometimes from what we saw last week, the other week, consistency pays off a lot more than outright pace. Because, yes, you could be 2-3 tenths quicker lap than anyone. But if you spin out, you lose 10 seconds. That's really ruined your races. Borodai has a 15-second penalty. So I'm not sure what that one's for. But, yeah, he's obviously made contact with someone. And he's been given a 15-second penalty. Now, Michael, penalties like that really don't help, do they? Especially in an endurance race. 15 seconds, that is a lot of time you've got to gain back up after the pit stops.
Yeah, because you only have 3 pit stops, so I mean, you try to really gain as much time as you possibly can when you're in that pit window. So having that extra 15 seconds on top of that, you're pretty much just shooting yourself in the foot. We didn't see the incident that caused that, but that is a huge penalty this early in the race as well. So it's going to be a very large mountain for Borodai to climb from here on out. The 112 team there, Sim Station, the only BMW on the field tonight. Vasilev also has yet to get behind the wheel there, but yeah, that's going to be really tough for these drivers to overcome this early in the race. I do want to jump back to De Campo. Perfect timing here, as we see on our screen. I think you hit the nail on the head. De Campo sees that 3rd place right ahead of him, but he also sees this train that he's able to kind of just sit there and use a little bit of that draft to not only, like you said, not abuse his tires this early, but also a little bit able to conserve a little bit of fuel. Just that little bit extra, he's able to go a little bit longer possibly, and use, if it works tonight, use that the overlapping to kind of just make this stint stretched out a little bit longer and able to really take advantage once he gets into that pit stop window. I think the pits are going to be extremely important as we come into that. Obviously a little too early right now, only like you said, 20 minutes into this race, but I think he's in the perfect position right now, as long as Pamfirov doesn't get too far ahead, as we see Kula, just like you said, losing time here off the track, and that's going to be a huge mistake, dropping him way down the timing tower and back into 17th place.
It's not what he would
want.
want
He's going to be under pressure. Yeah,
he's going to be under pressure from the other Simply Race esports driver of Keith Hemsoth, who's sitting down in 18th. He qualified 17th. Kula was in the top 10 fighting with Schubeck, but yeah, that's one issue he's got, because he's going to be sitting, about 6 or 7 seconds back from where he was. He's lost a lot of time, and to be fair, even though it's a 3-hour long race, 6 seconds is a lot of time, because you've got to gain that back up, and when you're gaining back this time, you've got to push. The more you push, the easier you ruin your tyres, and then obviously, you go down in that barrel of just getting slower and slower as you work your way through. But still, looking back at De Campo, Poliakov and Willemot, it seems now Pamfirov has just about started to pull away from Grant, but, he's got to keep pushing. Poliakov's sitting right behind with De Campo, and if these two get into a bit of a battle, this is really good for the top 3, because they can start pulling away more and more. Because if you look now at Julian Fox, he's sitting about 5 seconds ahead of P4, about 4 seconds ahead of P3. This is a really great start for him, and he just needs to keep it calm now, keep it consistent. There's no point in pushing. He's doing consistent 42.5s. If you look at the board, he's the slowest in the top 6, but because he's got that gap, he can just pull himself along and take it easy. Ermakov started to push a bit there, but he's getting quite a few invalidated lap times. I noticed the last 3 laps is invalidated, so he's got to be careful he doesn't get any violations or repercussions for that. As we come through now, down in towards the Villeneuve chicane. De Campo there, right in the background, looking for a move now on Poliakov, but tucks back in, so you can see De Campo's playing a bit of a mind game, from what I can see here. He's gone for a few dummies. He pretends to send it up the inside, pretends to send it around the outside, just to try and force Poliakov into a mistake. He might think, right, he's gone up the inside, we'll defend the outside. Then De Campo sits back in behind. A poor exit for Pliakov, then De Campo can just fly through. So, you know, he's just trying to put some pressure under the McLaren. Obviously, you know, one of the only McLaren, well, the only McLaren in the field. And to be fair, he's doing a pretty decent job as we head through this race. Obviously, we got 2 hours and 38 minutes left to remain. So we've only been here for about 20 minutes, and the action's already been pretty intense at the start. As we look further back, Staszak now looking to get himself through, and Schubeck. Schubeck's lost a lot of time. He's 3 seconds back from Giacomelli, so he's not had a good start at all. He's going a little bit wide there than Aquaminerali. That's going to allow Staszak to go side by side with him, down in towards the Variante Alto. You can see there Schubeck just pulls back, and he knows he can't send it from there. He knows he's not going to get himself through. So he's going to commit now to that P11. So he's dropped outside that top 10. Obviously, you do get points, I believe, pretty much throughout the old field as De Campo gets from Pliakov there. So he's found it late enough, and he's thought, right, we'll send it. And of course, he does send it. The only time we don't look at him.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for us, but probably a great move there. Finally able to make the move up into 5th place. But as we see a little bit further back here, Pollock right on the tail here of Stomakovic. And this is going to be a battle here for 12th place, I do believe. Yep, right there in 12th place. He's going to have a great run down into the first Variante Tamburello. I think he's a little too far back to really have any opportunity here, yeah.
Yeah, and also, has Fox made a mistake? Because look at the top. It's 7 tenths now between Fox and Ermakov. So what has Fox made a mistake? Or was Ermakov just completely blitzed these last couple of laps? So now, the lead does come into a bit of a battle between these two here. It's Armamentoro Community, car 96, they finished 4th in the last round. Didn't have the most strongest pace, but they was consistent and it pulled them through the field. And obviously, 144, that's Team 1 of Fox and Lang. They did a decent job. They led the whole race virtually, apart from that penalty they got. So they dropped into P2. But Ermakov now, looking to get himself through. What was that sound? I heard a massive... Did you hear that sound through the screen?
I did not.
Oh, I heard a massive bang sound. I'm not sure what that was about. Let's hope it isn't an issue on my end. It's all good anyway. As we go down now in towards Ravazza 1, and it is Ermakov on the outside over Fox as we head through now into Ravazza 1. Then it's on the inside for Ermakov. Can he get into Ravazza 2? Oh, they go side by side. Bit of a bounce on the curve there. Bit of contact. We come through there, and Fox does keep the lead. But now Ermakov's got a great run down in towards turn 2. We'll keep on board on the bumper of Ermakov now as we charge down towards turn 2. Can he get himself through? He's gaining a lot there. The gap's just over a tenth of a second now as we head down in towards turn 2. It's going to be inside, but backs off. And it sends Fox into a defensive move. Fox goes a little bit deep. Hops that curve completely now as Ermakov still trying to get himself through. He can't do so on that occasion. So now, Michael, he's got to find his way past into that turn 2, hasn't he? Because he had a great run, but he just couldn't make it work on that occasion.
Yeah, free air, not having to worry about any traffic. Ermakov was definitely chopping down this lead. Obviously, he's right on the tail of Fox here. But... you know, catching back up in clean air and getting around that Porsche are two totally different things. He's obviously got a lot of pace in that Lamborghini, but Fox definitely has a great opportunity here to just kind of continue doing what he's been doing, just putting in those consistent laps, maybe taking a little bit more of a defensive line, but yeah, he's going to be under pressure, but I don't think it's going to be too much pressure. Also, you got to think Ermakov has been really pushing those tires. Fox has just been kind of chilling, so he's probably going to have a little bit of a grip advantage as well, I would assume.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the last lap time from Fox. It was a 43.1. Ermakov was 7 tenths quicker, so Fox is starting to lose a bit of pace. His best lap is a 42.2, and then Ermakov and Pamfirov behind, their best laps are 41. So it just seems Fox hasn't got that ultimate pace compared to what his teammate did in qualifying. As we now come through, Pamfirov is also in this battle now. He's just sitting a second back from Ermakov and Fox. So, you know, this battling has really hurt these two now because their advantage was about 2 seconds to third. He's now under a second, which now means they keep battling harder and harder. It allows Pamfirov maybe to, you know, try and make something work, get a bit of an advantage over these two because they're going to burn their tyres. Now we go to turn 2, and that is Ermakov sticking up the inside there. Nearly contact again, and that was really close. I thought then Fox was going to be spun right round, but they make it through, and now Pamfirov sitting 3 tenths back. He's really loving this because he's going to get himself involved heavily And if these two aren't careful, Panfirov's going to get himself the lead. As that was Zermakov going a little bit wide there. It's brought Panfirov right into it now. As a head down into Tosa. The gap's 2 tenths. Can't make it work on this occasion, but you can see now he's really pushing on the back of Zermakov. He's going to push to get himself through into that top 2 position.
Yeah, this Lamborghini is so strong here tonight so far at Imola. I'm really just impressed by the pace that all the Lamborghinis have been able to really carry. But Ermakov and Panfirov, you know, really starting to battle it out here for P2. I think Ermakov definitely made a huge mistake there that brought Panfirov into play. But obviously the battle between him and Fox has definitely, you know, swayed this quite a bit. But Panfirov just looks like he's waiting for somebody to make a mistake and just quietly just popping in those lap times and just waiting for an opportunity. I think you're right. He's going to just sit here and make his move when the right time comes, but there's no pressure here for Panfirov. He's clearly got the pace. He's got the fastest lap, so he can just kind of hold on to the tail of this podium battle here and just wait for somebody else to make a mistake. We kind of saw DeCampo doing a little bit of the same thing, so
yeah,
I think this is going to be a great battle here. As we see just behind there, DeCampo is on the back end of Grant and Willamette, so that could be a battle that we could watch here as well here momentarily, as we see Polyakov having a 5-second time penalty as well. So quite a few penalties already being thrown out here early in this race. We're not even a half an hour, or just under a half hour into this race. We already see 1, 2, 3 penalties for a total of 30 seconds. So this is going to be very interesting as we see Panfirov going to the inside here, trying to make the move on. Oh, he's got it. He's got the move done on Ermakov. That was definitely a terrible exit out of
Schubach.
Tamburello there.
Oh, big collision. Paulix the wrong way. Stamenkovic got involved, and so did Schubach. And Paulix rounded again. He's nearly avoiding contact there with Kula and Hemsworth. He drops down to 18th, and they've lost lots of time against Schubach with another incident. That's not what he wants at all. I believe it was those 3 all involved down at turn 2, as now Panfirov looked him right on the back of Fox, trying to get himself through as they come down in towards Aqua Minerale. The gap's 2 tenths of a second, and this Lamborghini is now looking really, really quick. So the Porsche of Fox, he's gonna start worrying now, because he's like, oh, the lead was 2 seconds. It's now a 10th as they head down in towards Variante Alta. And now it's Panfirov's turn to try and get through as Fox goes a little bit wide on the exit there. That allows Panfirov to gain a little bit more now as he head down in towards the 2 Ravazzas. And will it be a move down here for Panfirov, or will he leave it down to turn 2? I think he will leave it down here. We'll go for it down at turn 2. But now Fox under loads of pressure, and once you get put under pressure, you can start to make mistakes. So Fox has got to keep calm. He knows there's 2 behind that quicker. He needs to keep himself calm, otherwise he's going to start making more and more mistakes, and it's going to allow Willemats and DeCampo to get themselves involved. Because remember, those 2 are doing good on pace, so you can't count them out at this battle for the win now. As you head down in towards turn 2, and we're not going to get a move down here just yet, but we might get a move from DeCampo because he's gaining lots on Willemot now. As we head down in towards turn 2, it's the outside line, sending Willemot defensive as we go through. They're just trying to put Willemot onto that really rough line, that, you know, the not ideal racing line as we head out of there. Is DeCampo close to make a move? I don't think he is. As we head through in towards the Villeneuve chicane, he's going to go for an outside line, tries to send it through, and I don't think they'll make it on that occasion.
No, he's definitely not going to have the pace here, but as we jump right up front here, Panfirov really has a ton of pace. We saw Ermakov putting Fox under a lot of pressure, but I don't think we saw him putting him under as much pressure as we're seeing Panfirov going through here. So this is definitely going to be an extremely important battle, about half an hour into this race for P1 already. So this is going to be great for us for this broadcast, because this battle has been absolutely stunning, and I think it's going to continue here for a while. I don't see Fox giving up this position, and he's been putting in some consistent lap times here, but you pointed out earlier he's quite a bit off the pace of these 2 Lamborghinis, so they've been, you know, it's quite a bottleneck here up front.
Well, I'll bring it to light. Car number 96 of Ermakov, they finished 15th in the last race. They took 38 points. So they scored 40 less than, about 40 less than Fox. So tonight, they've really changed it around. They've come out of Nürburgring and they thought, right, this and this didn't work well. We're going to change it. They've changed it. And so far, they're doing a really great job to bring themselves a podium. Coming back off of P15, that is a vast improvement just over a week now. As we head down in towards turn 2, the 3 of them all within 3 tenths of each other now. As we head down, it's Panfirov on the outside, Fox on the inside into turn 2. Which one comes out ahead? Because actually, Oh, yeah, Pamphirov lets off. He wants to give Fox a bit of a dummy to try and then get the better exit coming through the chicane on towards the Villeneuve chicane. The gap's still a 10th, and I don't think Pamphirov can get himself through on this occasion. He's got to send it, isn't he? Into the inside at Villeneuve. Oh, they nearly make contact through there as they come through now, and Fox jumps that curb, takes a bit of a bounce through there. That'll lose him time. As we now head down into Tosat, Fox braking pretty early there, and you can see Pamphirov trying to push him through now. As we exit out of there, and still, Fox is doing such a great job to defend, and you know the thing is, do Pamphirov and Ermakov have to take a different approach to get through on Fox?
Yeah, I think they have to. If you saw there coming into Tosa, Pamphirov really had to back off because his exit was completely compromised because of the line that Fox was taking. So even though he had all that pace, just because of the way that Fox is just defending so magnificently, he's losing out on his exit speed. He's unable to really make an opportunity out of anything that Fox is doing.
Oh,
so,
Fox.
Quite a bit of curb there.
Yeah, quite a bit of grass as well as we come out of Variante Alta. I thought maybe Fox jumped the curb jumped over the grass, so we didn't lose lots of time. He took that one ideal line. Well, that's not ideal at all for Pamphirov. That could have ended a lot worse, but Fox knew what he was doing, took the grass instead of that large curb, and just about keeps that lead. But now you can see he's really coming under pressure, and you know it's going to be a matter of time before he starts making these mistakes nearly every lap. So yeah, it's not ideal for Fox. It's good for Pamphirov because he's fine in this P2. He knows he can keep up with the pace. He knows he's quicker, so he can just sit behind and lure Fox into a mistake. That's what you're going to do at this point now. As you head down into turn 2 yet again on lap 20. And to be fair, we've done 20 laps already. That has gone very quick, hasn't it, Michael?
Yeah, it's been absolutely surprising to me that we're already 33 minutes into this race. To be completely honest with you, there's been so much action going on up and down through the top 10 here. It's been very important to, you know, keep us on our toes. But Pamphirov really just trying to do everything he can, taking an outside line. They almost touch here, and that's going to bring Ermakov right back into this play. Ermakov having a great run through Tosa there, and Pamphirov trying to take the outside line on Fox, but it just absolutely compromises him.
Yeah, it stands at that. Sorry, with a 15-second penalty.
Yeah, we see that's our 4th penalty so far. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be a very interesting race. The the stewards have been very busy, so that's for sure. But yeah, no, I can't believe we're only 34 minutes into this race. We've seen so many battles so far, and we've had, you know, this battle for P1 going on here for about the last 10 minutes here between Ermakov, Pamphirov, and Julian Fox up there in front. So I'm excited to see the first round of pit stops, though. That shouldn't be too far out of the way, you know, now that we're starting to come up towards that 40-minute mark. Depending on, you know, how long of a stint you want your drivers to go. Obviously, we discussed it earlier, and it was confirmed. It's a 100-minute max per driver. So 180-minute race. Each driver can only go for 100 minutes, so one driver is obviously going to be a little bit lower than the other. So it's going to be very interesting to see when these guys start to make that first pit stop, how long Julian Fox is going to stay out, because I think once this Porsche gets into the hands of Lang, it's going to be a completely different story. If he's able to push this stint out and stay up front here for that, you know, until that first pit stop, I think it's going to be really tough for that Porsche to get beaten tonight.
Yeah, well, in the Nürburgring, we saw around 45-minute stints for everyone, and then they'd pit between 45 and 50 minutes. Some would stretch out to 55. But yeah, so when we get to that when we get in about 10-15 minutes time, we'll start to see pit stops. Obviously, we'll see Fox jump in. We'll see Lang jump in for Fox. And the car 121 will have. Let's have a little look at our sheet. 121 will have Berzakovsky jumping into the car, and then the car 96, which is the Armamentario, we'll see Rybakov jump into the car. So we'll have 3 different drivers at the front, and we'll be able to see then which one of these is stronger, because we never know. We might see the 96 all of a sudden have Rybakov doing a tremendous job. Then he could put himself up into P1. We could see maybe Lang lose pace, and he could drop a few positions. So, you know, the pit stops, they're quite intriguing because we get to see then the second drivers. We get to see what they can do. Obviously, some of them have done it in qualifying, but, you know, some of them had to go in qualifying, some of them didn't. But yeah, it'll be nice to see what they can do in the race. But out of the top 3, is there anyone, Michael, that you're looking intrigued to see their second driver and see what they can perform on this next stint?
Yeah, I think, like I said, Lang is definitely the one that I'm really looking forward to. But we look at the lineup here for the 96 and the 21. or the 121 there. Like you said, Berzakovsky coming into Lamborghini of the 121, and yeah, Rybakov, who put in a great lap there. I believe they started what, P4. So
Yep.
yeah, Rybakov, the one that took that Lamborghini up to P4. It's going to be exciting to see him as well. But I think I'm just kind of fixated on the 144 car. So I think if you hadn't told me they had such a large lead last week when they got that penalty, I'd be looking at it a little bit differently. But knowing how fast Lang was in qualifying, obviously jumping up to the pole position there, and then giving the car over to Fox, who's been able to absolutely dominate the front of this race with great defensive driving. You know, he's been under pressure for a long time now, and he's made a mistake here or there, but hasn't really put too much of a foot wrong. He's clearly been able to battle off both of these cars, these Lamborghinis, who both have much more pace overall on a lap time than he does. But I mean, if you can't make the move, you can't make the move, and Julian Fox is in a great position right now. But Panfarov, I think he's going to have a great exit here. He's going to have an opportunity into Ravaza. He's a little bit too far back, actually.
Yeah, and dipping into the grass a little bit there as we come down in towards Ravaza 1. Can he get himself through? I don't think he will on this occasion. But now you can see the battles are starting to close in. Willemot, he's within 1.2 seconds, and De Campo right behind him. This battle for the lead is becoming a battle for the top 5. It was originally Fox on his own, then he's allowed Panfarov and Ermakov to catch up. They've been having some tremendous battling and defensive work from Fox. It's then allowed Willemot and De Campo to get themselves closer. Now we'll see De Campo. Does he go for a move on the back of Willemot, or does he stay behind? Because also Poliakov is gaining into this as well. He's 1.7 seconds back from De Campo as we're heading towards turn 2. So yeah, this battle for the lead is going to become a great one. The battle for the podium, the battle for the top 5. I can't wait to see what this turns into. And now look at that, Ermakov getting through on Panfarov. As they go in towards Villeneuve chicane. It just seemed like Panfarov let him through. I don't think they wanted to fight that one. I thought they knew that if they just let Ermakov through, they'd lose less time than they would from just from letting him from trying to defend it. As De Campo also now trying to get himself back through, and Willemot. Obviously, Willemot the only Ferrari in the top 5, and the top 6. We've got every single car apart from the Beamer. We've got the McLaren in 6th. We've got the Lamborghini 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. We've got a Ferrari in 4th, and the Porsche leading us off in this race. So, even though these cars, like this grid is dominated by Ferraris and Lambos, the Porsches and McLarens are doing a great job. Because if you look, Michael, 12th down, they are all Ferraris. Every single car. I've just noticed that myself.
Yeah, I was just looking at a moment ago, the Ferraris. I mean, other than Willemot. Oh, we see a big off there. Is that Panfarov?
Yeah, what's happened there? The car stopped.
Oh, that is not good at all. But the 12 car or the 121 car, they have been having an absolutely stunning race, and then all of a sudden, he let Ermakov go, and he just pulls over to the side of the road there and just.
What's happening?
What's going? Yeah, that's a very strange incident. I'm not sure. Maybe he's having some sort of
connection issue. Let's hope not, because he was doing a great job sitting in 2nd. That is really, really bad, isn't it, for Panfarov? He's down to 16th, and he's left the session. He's gone. That is a big shame for Panfarov. What car is he? And he's in number. Let me find it. He's in number 121, so they're out. Yeah, it's a big shame, and he's back in the session now in the pit lane. Oh, this has failed heavily for 1-2. That is not what they would have wanted coming into this. They was looking really strong to get themselves coming off the back of a they was P15. They're now sitting in they was sitting in P2, but yeah, it's going to be pretty much a last place finish for them because they're 30 seconds behind 17th. So it's a big shame, but we've had pit stops. We've had one, which was number 55. That's Biancon in the Team Ballas. He has replaced Schubeck. So he's hopped into the car now. He's sitting 1 minute and 16 seconds back from Hemsarth. Obviously, because they've got to put as well, that gap will close. But yeah, our first proper pit stop is for Biancon.
Seems a little bit early, only 40 minutes into this race. He said last week they were going 45 to 55 minutes.
Yep.
But yeah, Schubeck not really having a great start there. He was up in the top of the qualifying tower right before the end, where everybody just started putting in all those banger laps. and just absolutely tumbled down the timing tower. Started the race, I believe, in 9th place, fell back to 12th at one point. So maybe this was a bit of a strategy call to just kind of get Biancon out there and see what he's able to do with that Ferrari, because the Ferrari is just not having a great race. And we see Panfarov is back out there. Oh no, he's not. He's still in the pits. I apologize for that.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely, maybe this had something to do with the reason why they were P15 last week, or last race, is because they were having connection issues. But that is so gut-wrenching for them. It's kind of like real world having a mechanical issue happen. So.
It's not ideal, is it? And it really brings down the team as well, because you lose that confidence, to continue. You think, we're sitting that far back. Do we want to bother continuing? But you've got to keep on it. You can't give up early on, because if someone else has an issue, that can give you an advantage, maybe making 1 or 2 positions. But we've had one of the top 6 pit, which is Polyakov now. He's going to be swapping in for Amir Sabirov, who will be taking place in the F1 Reims Racing Team, obviously winners from last time, first to pit, so they're going for a bit of an undercut compared to the other teams. And we'll see when these top 5 decide, well, top 4 mainly, when they decide to pit, because Ianon's now 6.5 seconds back, Borodai is 6.7 seconds back from him. So the 5th and 6th, the 202 and 112 aren't really involved in this battle. But if they can make something work in the pit stops, maybe pitting a bit later than the others, pitting a bit earlier, trying something different, they could close themselves a little bit into it. But I think for now, for De Campo, he's got to make something work now. As he brings the coming up to the pit stops, he needs to get through on Willemot, doesn't he? So we come up to pit stops. It will be his teammate Zelch heading into the car. Zelch would want it to be an easy job. He'd want to be ahead of Willemot, because to be fair, that Ferrari is defending well, as Julian Fox enters the pit lane now.
This is going to free Ermakov. He's going to have to take a lot of advantage.
Bit of a battle. Giacomelli and Stazak there coming together. Oh, it's a big shame, isn't it? And I think it was Stazak's fault, because he caught the inside and he just tapped round Giacomelli. He's already got a penalty, hasn't he? Well, he did have anyway, so that's not good at him good for him at all, as we now head down in towards turn 2 again. This is Santo trying to go for a bit of a move on the outside after he took to the inside. Oh, and these two men making contact, waving all down in towards his braking zone. And Santo's had a bit of a shock, because look at the left front of that car. It's really, really damaged.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be losing a lot of downforce on the front end of that car. But he's got that 10-second penalty. So made contact earlier, but he's got quite a bit of pace here. He's right on the back there, even with that damage of Stazak. Really trying to force his way up, but De Campo up into 3rd place here, finally getting an opportunity to move up, but he's still stuck behind Willamette. He really needs to either try the undercut or the overcut here. Something's got to give for De Campo, because he can't spend the rest of his race stuck behind Willamette. Ermakov, though, surprising me a little bit, not really taking too much advantage, too much of a gap here from Willamette and De Campo, having that free air now that Fox has gone into the pits. So it's going to be really interesting if Lang, who comes out, it looks like came out in clear air. So it's going to be interesting to see what Lang's going to be able to do. I think it's so important to choose when you're going to pit to come out in free air here, and for Ermakov to take advantage here. I don't think he's really doing that at all.
Yeah. Ermakov's pitted now, so we'll go on board with Lang. Obviously jumping now into the Team 1 car, 144. He took pole position in qualifying, let his teammate take that first stint. Now he's coming on to the second stint as we now head down in towards Piratella. We'll stick on board with him for now, and we'll watch him as he comes through this outlap, and we'll see where he comes out compared to Ermakov. Santo also in the pits as well, obviously going to be serving that 10-second time penalty. That's not ideal for him at all. As we see, pretty much half the grid now, all pitting. Sabirov in the car. We've got Rolano Mesa, Calandrino, Vasiliev, I think that is. He's jumping into the car over Borodai, who served that penalty. And Lang now is coming out of the Variante Alta, heading down in towards Ravazza 1 and 2. Ermakov is still sitting in the car, so they're still performing the pit stop on that Lamborghini as Lang now comes down in towards Ravazza 1 and 2. When do we see this Lamborghini make a move? As we can see now, Rybkov into the car. He's off. He's heading off now. As Lang, based on a bit of curve there, touching the gravel as he comes out the final corner. Will he jump Ermakov by much as they come through now? The gap's 3 seconds. It's going to be close as they come out the pits. Ermakov's now just heading out slowly, and I think Lang has jumped him. Yes, he has. But it's very close, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah, that was very close, but I want to jump over to the 13 car real quick. Moving up from 6th place and then up, just 3 seconds, 4 seconds back here. So Saburov able to really take advantage. Saburov and Polikov able to really take advantage of that first pit stop, because right now they're provisionally up into P3. So absolutely stunning pit sequence there for that McLaren.
Yeah, and still we have that battle between Wilmot and De Campo still out there battling for that position, and I think now De Campo surely had enough of the rear of that Ferrari. Every single lap he's been stuck behind, can't get through. Surely he's going to have to pit soon and just hope that, for the love of God, he can get himself ahead of that Ferrari.
Yeah, that Ferrari's definitely been giving him fits all race long, Wilmot. Starting off in P2, but falling down the field a little bit. De Campo moving up the field a little bit, but just battling back and forth between the two of them. I think you're right. De Campo's going to have to make a move here and probably jump into the pits a little early, as we see this battle way further back. Mitchell on the back end of Biacon. And
What's happened there? That's an odd one. Stojankovic had a yellow flag, well, a caution sign, but he hadn't had an issue, so that's why I just jumped over to him. Sorry about that. But Regan Mitchell, having a pretty decent start, is sitting on the back of Bianca as they head through now towards Piratella. Brabham Esports making an appearance here, which is very nice to see, as they come through now in towards Aqua Minerale. But you can see the front of that Ferrari as well has also got a bit of damage. So the cars at the back have, I think they've been a bit reckless, haven't they? Had got involved in quite a bit.
yeah, they've definitely been quite damaged. So maybe those Ferraris, they're just not playing nice, and that's why they've been having such a rough day. We talked about it briefly ahead of time. It's nice to see the Brabham team, the esports team here, but I really want to see that Brabham in ACC. I think that'd be something really nice to see, and I think the Brabham esports team would like to see that as well.
It will. It'd be really nice to see them see how they have their car in the game. As we're looking through now, a few more pit stops have been made. Rolando Mesa in the Tyre Racing, Sim Sport Racing, he's got himself up to P9, so he's had a very decent stint so far in the 3-3-3. Calandrino into the top 10 as well. I like that livery for the SPQ. That's a really nice livery, isn't it? The 201. As they head now down in towards the Villeneuve chicane. De Campo into the pits along with Willemot there. And Whitvert there hasn't pitted. He now takes the lead. Luciano Whitvert now as they head down into turn 2. The car 54 of the Ballas Esports. Still my favourite livery in this league. I really love that blue and purple. They really contrast well together. As we head down in towards Variante Alta. This is with Rybkov and Sabirov. 96 and 13. Oh, a bit of a baits on the curb there for Sabirov as they exit that corner. Heading down now in towards Ravazza 1 and 2. And Lang has pulled out a great stint. He's currently, the gap was about 2 seconds between him and Ryabkov. It's now 5 seconds. So that has really increased that gap, and we'll see now. Where does Lang come out compared to De Campo? De Campo is still coming out the pit lane. This has really not worked out, has it? This overcut for the likes of De Campo and Willemot, who I believe will swap onto their other drivers now.
Well, it's going to be close here, but yeah, they're not going to have the pace to get past that Lamborghini. But it's worked out really well for Willemot. Up into P2 now. They started off P2. They fell down through the field, and that's not Willemot behind the wheel though any further.
Woodrow.
That's yeah, that's going to be Woodrow. Ryan Woodrow behind the wheel now, but up into provisionally P2 because Whitvit hasn't pitted yet up on the top of the timing tower there. But yeah, no, great pit stop there by the 3 crew. It's the Simply Race Esports SRE Pro 1 team. So yeah,
that has worked out heavily. I haven't noticed how much that has worked. They were sitting P4. They jumped Shazoo of Zalch and De Campo by 3 seconds. Ryabkov and Sabirov.
I was actually surprised. I thought Sabirov, they had a great pit sequence there too. I thought they were going to be up into the podium spots, but no, right back in the 6th place there. So yeah, it's Woodrow, the Simply Race Esports team there in the 3 car, the Ferrari, the only Ferrari that seems to be doing well today. Great sequence there as we see Lang out front there. Lang is definitely putting in a little bit of a gap because this was a lot closer here a lap or 2 ago.
Yeah, well, he's just put in the personal best for the car itself of 41.9. The best lap time that Julian Fox was 42.2. So Lang already on some great pace. He took qualifying pole. I think, I think we're going to see a repeat of last time. A bit of he just pulls away, Lang does. He's doing such, not to talk down Julian Fox, but Lang, I think, has got the overall pace out of those two in that team. And he's pulled away so easily already as we come through into the start of this second stint. Obviously, he's still got about 35, 40 minutes to go on this stint before he swaps back to Fox. But yeah, it's going really well, isn't it? And I think, actually, they've timed this well, because if Fox hasn't got, as they say, the almighty pace that Lang's got, as we can see, they've timed this so Lang will do the final stint of the race. So maybe they want him to finish it off, the race, and, you know, just try and get him to secure that P1. Because obviously, remember, they was leading by 10 seconds in Nürburgring. About 15 laps to go, they got given a 10-second time penalty after a battle with, I think it was a lapped car as well. In one of the corners, I think they just misjudged the braking zone and plowed into the back of this lapped car. That gave them 10 seconds. It allowed, I think it was Sabirov driving that, the car 30 at the time. They pulled up right into about 7 seconds behind. The rain arrived. Fox started to slow down, and it just allowed them to take that win easily because of that penalty. So they're going to take a bit of a difference now. Lang started the race last time. This time they're putting Fox at the start, and they're swapping around at the end as well. So yeah, it's different tactics each time from the team one, and they're doing a pretty good job, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they're definitely doing a great job provisionally P1 right now. But I think if you really look at the strategy there, it was really important for Julian Fox starting off on the pole position there to stay up front. He was able to bottleneck those Lamborghinis, and it's worked out absolutely perfectly for them, because now we see Lang putting in the fastest lap of the race. So obviously, not having to worry about making any overtakes is going to be even better for them. So that was a really important stint there, that first stint for Julian Fox. Executed very well because he was able to comfortably take that defensive line the entire time.
Yeah, I'm currently on board with Vasilev and Nateman fighting for that P15 spot. The Sim Station 1122 and the Simply Race Esports. Nateman has stepped in for his teammate, who was Conrad Kula, who obviously had the contact down at turn 2. Had a bit of a spin as well, so he lost quite a few positions. The car 112 originally had Borodai, and obviously Borodai also got a 15-second penalty for an incident. So these two have been shoved down a bit further than they would like, and I think they have a bit more credit to be up further, because their pace has been pretty decent so far, but they're sitting down at the moment in 15th and 16th. And as we talk about Lang's pace, he's just done the fastest lap of 41.612. That is a really nice lap. Woodrow has done a best lap of a 42.2. Then we have behind a 41.8 for Ryabkov and a 41.9 for Zouch. So, you know, these four are very close together. The best laps all combined within about 0.6 of a second. So all it takes now is, because of how close it is, one mistake from Lang could drop him out of this top 5. It's that intense. If you're someone like Metzola, who's sitting in 6th, if you make a mistake, you're 15 seconds back from P9. So you can, if you do spin, it's not the end of the world. But for someone like Lang, he's going to lose that top 5, and the points, they drastically go down. Because we look at the points for the top 10, it goes 85, 79, 74, 70, 67, 64, 61, 58, 55, 52 for the top 10. So that's 30 points between 1st and 10th. Which, in a 5-round championship, 30 points can be quite a lot, can't it?
Yeah, that's a huge gap, even though it doesn't seem like it's that much. But I'd be really surprised to see any sort of mistake here by Lang. He probably learned his lesson from Nürburgring. You got to take advantage of every opportunity you get. So I think he's probably going to be keeping his head down and staying consistent here. Any mistake, like you said, is going to drop him out of the top 5, which is a huge difference in points throughout a 5-race season. So this is going to be very interesting to see here, but I want to take a look here from the back here of Bernschitz under a lot of pressure here by Colin Drino, but it looks like coming through here, the second Varianti Villeneuve into Tosa here, looks like he's going to be quite clear, actually. At first it looked like the battle was a lot closer than it really is coming through here. It looked like I'm going to have to reload my stream here one moment.
Well, Bronschitz was sitting originally provisional pole in the qualifying session. He dropped down quite a few after not getting the best final lap he could have done. I believe he started in that, I think he started in about P11, P9, P11, P10. But he's got Calandrino right behind in the 201. They've had a pretty decent start. 201 was originally Giacomelli, who had that incident with one of the other I think actually might have been Brunschit's teammates who's in the 67. Yeah, I think it was. It was Stazak who had that collision with Giacomelli, but obviously now it's swapped turns. It's Brunschitz and Calandrino. Hopefully they don't come together like their teammates did, as we now head down in towards Ravazza 1 and 2. But they've had a pretty decent job of just working their way up the field slowly, sitting 9th and 10th. And also, one thing we want to talk about, 202. That is Inon and Mazzola. To be fair, considering the pace loss that Inon had on that first stint, they're still sitting in that top 6. 8 seconds ahead of Cosford, who's in 7th. Obviously, that was originally Whitver, and they've also had a pretty decent pit stop as well. Sometimes, I think, from what we've seen, that overcut worked heavily, a lot heavier more than the undercut, didn't it? Because you can see, obviously, Sabirov lost day, but Zelch and Woodrow really made that work, didn't they?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Woodrow, absolutely the one that, you know, benefited the most out of that pit stop by going the furthest. But yeah, Cosford and the Porsche, since Whitford took that stint so long there, he was the longest to stay out, the last one in the pit. They've moved themselves into a pretty solid position here. Yeah, they're 8 seconds back in 7th place, 8 seconds back from 6th place, but they actually had a great opportunity to move up the field a little bit. And I think this is going to be a great point scoring opportunity as long as they're able to, you know, keep their nose clean and out of trouble here. As we take a look at Zelch coming through here, just about 0.8 off the back of Rabikov for 3rd place. I know Zelch wants to get a little closer to that Lamborghini. These two Lamborghinis have been battling all throughout the first stint here, and it looks like they're taking a little bit of a break here between Rabikov and Zelch. But Sabirov, I think, has been impressing me quite a bit, up into 5th place here. I know you said they won the race last time out because of the mistake by Lang and the penalty, but this is the first stint that I've actually been able to see from Sabirov, as he was not the one that took over for qualifying duties or the first stint. So
yeah, I think, you know, the start has been pretty decent. We've had a bit of battling, but I think now we're coming to the second stint. I think the second and third stint, you know, we're getting to the middle part of the race, you know, the 1 hour mark, 2 hour mark. It does start to die down a bit because everyone's settling themselves into a rhythm. And they just, you know, they just want to be consistent. So the likes of the top 5 now won't really be pushing to make moves. They'll just be pushing to stay consistent and keep those similar lap times in. As Sabirov, you know, he's doing the 142 mid 143s, which he's keeping consistently. I think once you get to the final stint, that's when you want to start pushing. Same as the first stint. The first and the final stint are the ones that, in my eyes, matter the most in terms of you've got to push the car and try and get those overtakes. If they think that Langer might be better in that final stint because that's when the most pressure's on. You know, it's the time when it comes down to the end of the race. That's why they might have put him out. They might think, right, you know, Lang might work a bit well under pressure. You saw Fox, he dealt well with it, but he could have pulled away a bit more than he did. So if they think, right, Fox wasn't that strong, we'll have Lang at the end. That can really help them. Possibly if he's a bit better under pressure, try and pull that gap and try and defend heavier from the likes of now. Anyway, Woodrow, as it seems, as Brunschitz looking to get a move on Rolando Mesa, who's sitting in P8 in the car 333, which his original driver was Rodriguez, who I don't think we spoke about once during this race, did we? Michael Rodriguez in the 333.
yeah, the 333 was stuck towards the back of the field, and once we saw all those Ferraris taking up, I think it was there was Ferraris from 12th place back to 17th. So yeah, this is definitely the furthest up we've seen any Ferrari in the field other than the 3 car up front there. But Brunschitz really getting on the back of Rolando Mesa. They must have also had a great pit sequence there for them to get so far ahead. But it's going to be a battle for them to keep this P8 away from Brunschitz.
Yeah, as we now head down in towards turn 2, the absolute 2/10. It's the Lamborghini versus the Ferrari, which we saw with De Campo and who was it now? Was it Willemot? Oh, it wasn't. There's Brunschitz going a bit deep. He's just touched that grass, and as soon as you just touch the grass, it's like an ice rink. Spins the rears round, and yeah, just onto that grass, and that's lost him a position as well, hasn't it? To Calandrino, who's now going to be sitting in P9. But yeah, as I was saying, this is, you know, we saw the Lamborghini and the Ferrari battling with Willemot and De Campo, and to be fair, it seemed like the Ferrari, it wasn't as quick in the straight line, but when it came to defending, it did a really great job. It seemed a lot more versatile in the corners, didn't it?
Yeah, he was able to really keep the rear end of that extremely wide.
He's off! Down at the exit of the Variante Alta. Oh, that is a big shame. Is it for Team Shazoo? At the moment, they're going to lose lots of time, put Sabirov into the top 4. And sorry to cut you off there, Michael, but they've now lost about 10 seconds.
Well, that was definitely a big shunt there, like you said. I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, we can't go back and see, unfortunately, with ACC, I believe. But, yeah, that was huge. Going to drop him back into 5th place. He's able to keep the top 5 there, but this is really going to ruin their race. That was a huge shunt, and they're going to lose so much time, like you said. It's pretty much going to guarantee that they're out of any podium contention unless something big happens to the top 4 front runners.
Yeah, what I'm doing currently is I'm trying to find the sheet with the penalties, and so I can have a bit of, so I can feed you some information of what happened with the incident. So, I found the information. If it tells me enough information, that would be good. But we look through now to look for the incidents in the race. I can't seem to find it just yet as we come through. There we are. So we've got some of the incidents. So we had car 67 receive a penalty 10 seconds. No, car 343 receive a penalty for 10 seconds for Monarch causing a collision. And then we had, as we look down, car 67 also had a penalty for a major collision. And then we also had car 22 as well with a major collision, but that is it for now. We've got quite a few penalties coming through, actually. We've had about, not penalties, sorry, quite a few reports coming. We've had about 18 reports at the moment coming through. And yeah, they're really coming through now. Mainly at the start of the race, we had about 10 reports within about 5-10 minutes, but now they seem to calm down a little bit. We're getting, what, 1 or 2 reports every 15 minutes. So they're starting to calm down. But like we said before, Michael, that's because everyone's kind of just chilling into their own rhythm. Well, apart from these two here, Calandrino and Brunschitz.
Yeah, you're right there. I do want to jump back to the car, the 22 car. I think they are our only actual retirement currently. Only 18 cars started this race, only 17 remain. So I think the 22 car, I'm not seeing them on the Tommy Tower. I think they've gone ahead and retired.
It's the Mankiewicz
So
and
like you
Waring,
said-
isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not seeing them any information on them currently. So, yeah, on my Tommy Tower, it's just showing that they are 18th. But I think they're out of the race. As we take a look here, Brunschwitz, obviously Brunschwitz got to be very frustrated with himself after that big incident coming out of. Oh no, that wasn't all. That was Zelch that had the big incident coming out of Alta. But Brunschwitz did have an incident. I just can't remember which corner he was coming out of there. But on the back of Calandrino again, trying to make a move happen, but a little too far back. And like you said a little while ago, this is kind of the doldrums of the race. You know, that middle stint, that middle hour, this is where cars just kind of settle in. This is the race of just consistency. You need to make the strategy work. So unfortunately, you can't just push hard every single lap. Obviously, your tires can't. As we see, and Rubia getting off in the back there, I'm not sure what happened, but it looked like he cut the corner there coming into Villeneuve, so he must have had an off there.
Yeah, as we now head down into Perisella of being confirmed, yes. Car 22 has retired. It says here, it seems they gave up after speeding in the pits. Obviously, that's not confirmed. There could be another issue, but that is just what I've been told. My end, as we now come through in towards Aqua Minerale. This is with Brunschitz on the back of Calandrino, going a little bit deep into there as we now head down in towards Variante Alta. And you can just see that Renault just popping out of view as they head down into that corner now. And must be a bit of an issue because it's saying here that Sabiros will lap down, which is not. So that's a bit of an issue. And actually, I think Calandrino went Calandrino went wide because Brunschitz coming after him up the inside, down in towards Ravazza. One breaks later, has the inside line, has a better break, and into there goes deep. Actually, does it allow Calandrino to get back through? No, it doesn't. So they make it through there, clean and tidy, and now Brunschitz up into the top 9, and then Rubia. He's also getting on the back of Calandrino as well because he's 8/10 back. So we'll see if he can get involved in this battle for the top 10 as we head on throughout the race. And Nateman on the back of Vasilev as well. They're now just coming out of Variante Alta. They're sitting P15 and P16. But so far, nothing happening too much between those two. But the main battle on track at the moment is between P9s, 10 and 11, which is Brunschitz, Calandrino and Rubia.
Yeah, this has been a battle that's brewing over the fast few laps here. Brunschwitz taking advantage of that mistake by Calandrino. As we take a look at that Lamborghini just coming through here, they they were up on the back of Rolando Mesa, but he's been able to pull a little bit of a gap on these guys, about 2 seconds, 2.2 seconds now. So he's breathing a little bit easier than he was about 4 or 5 laps ago. And Drubia making that huge mistake there, coming through Villeneuve, but Variante Villeneuve, but able to kind of just settle in again and didn't really lose too much time. He's lost about 2 tenths here, but no, he's still about 8 tenths back. So he's just kind of just enjoying himself right now, trying to bide his time and see if there's an opportunity for him to get up into the top 10 there.
Yeah, as we head through now in towards Variante Alto again, we're on lap 39 now. So it seems we'll get about maybe, what, we're an hour in, we've done 30, we'll say 40 laps. Yeah, we're looking at about 110 laps-ish for the rest of the race now. Obviously, we've still got 2 mandatory pit stops from everyone. We'll see those in around 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But for now, they're just going to sit where they are. And this little battle between, well, Brunschit's actually gaining a lot on Renato Mesa, hasn't he? As you can see there, that gap now, about 9 tenths as they head down in towards turn 2. Calandrino is second back and Ruby is 6 tenths behind him. So now, Brunschit's starting to get a bit of pace there. And he's starting to drop Calandrino a little slight bit now as we head through. And looking back at the front, Benjamin Lang still leading the race. He's got the fastest lap of 41.4, as Woodrow also doing a 41.4 for his best lap, along with Ryabkov on a 41.4 as well, all within well, these fastest laps are all within 80 thousandths. We've got a 4.15 for Lang, 4.92 for Woodrow, and a 4.75 for Ryabkov as we now head down in towards Variante Alto. And also, Brunschitz is also getting some great pace. He's just on a 41.6 on his previous lap. So he's already within 2 tenths of the top 3 on their lap times. As we come down now in towards Aqua Minerale. And Brunschitz, he's going to have to try and get it somewhere. He seems quicker than Ramos, but he just can't get away through. And that's what we've seen a lot, haven't we, throughout this race? Just with the way the track is styled, with it being quite a thin old track, and these GT3 cars being quite big, no one can get a move through, and that's an issue because you start to lose more time. Because Ronaldo Mesa, he's dropping lots of time to the back of Cody Cosford, who's sitting in P7. We'll have a little look at him as he's heading down in the Gato Chain Ballas Esports car. Currently sitting in P7. He's doing a pretty decent job so far. And Michael, who do you think at this moment would you say is your, we'll say, team of the race at the moment?
I mean, I gotta be honest with you. The 144 car is still the one that I think is to beat. So Team 1, they've just been absolutely dominating so far. But there's been such great battling throughout this field, throughout the entire race. Cosford able to really kind of just relax a little bit, but Rolando Mesa under a lot of pressure here by Brunschwitz. Brunschwitz going to take the move. He's going to get it done through Tamburillo, and this is going to be job done and dusted here by Brunschwitz around Rolando Mesa. I feel like that move has been brewing for quite a while now. Rolando just didn't quite have the pace that Lamborghini does, the Ferrari, just not enjoying Imola so far tonight. So that's going to release Brunschwitz. He's got a lot of pace, and this is going to bring Calandrino into play as well. So Rolando Mesa under a lot of pressure here, trying to just stay in the top 10. We know, and Rubia has some pace too, so this is going to be very interesting. But Calandrino is really going to be a shark smelling blood in the water here in the next lap or two.
Yeah, it really does seem these throws are really not working the way they would have wanted. We've got about 6, 7 throws in the field, and 6 of them are down in the bottom 7, which isn't ideal. So that is really not what they would have wanted going into this. The Lamborghinis, however, are performing very well. We saw a bit of a difference in Nürburgring. It seemed the Ferraris were quicker in the Nürburgring, the Lamborghinis a little bit slower on pace, but it's swap train completely here. And also the Porsches as well, seeming pretty quick. We've got those P1 and P7, that's Lang and Cosford, that's where they qualified as well. So, you know, they're doing a pretty consistent job to stick where they are. As we now head out of Ramazza 2, watching the wing of Calandrino as he's getting under more pressure from Enrubia, as also now Rolando Mesa has lost the back of Brunschitz, and Calandrino needs to get through quickly on Mesa to get himself back up onto the back of the car 67 as we head down in towards turn 2.
Yeah, this has just been such a tough battle between these Lamborghinis and Ferraris trying to make a move here. Clearly, the Ferrari is just underclassed at Imola today. So it's been frustrating for those drivers, but nowhere to really pass in this tight circuit for these big GT3 cars. It's just going to be a battle throughout the rest of the race just to kind of keep your nose clean. We've already seen a couple incidents, not too many incidents, but as people become more and more aggressive towards the end of the race, as fuel loads become a lot lower and tire wear becomes a lot higher towards the end of these stints, we still got quite a ways to go on this stint, the second stint, but it's going to be very interesting to see where these battles really remain themselves. As we see Brunschwitz now with a 15-second penalty. Did we see that before?
No, we'll have a little look in a second to see what that penalty was for, but that is not good at all, is it now? A 15-second penalty. I believe they had one before, didn't they? Had a penalty. But yeah, they're going to now drop down below this battle, so they're currently sitting ahead of this battle for P8 to 11. But they're going to end up dropping behind this battle by a couple of seconds when they come into the pits. So that's really not good at all for Brunschwitz. So maybe it needs to pit a bit earlier. Oh no, sorry, pit a bit later, because that overcut has seemingly been a little bit better than the undercut so far on this race. So they're going to have to try something different to make it work. As they come out now, Ravazza 2 heading down in towards turn 2 yet again, and still the leader is Benjamin Lang, and he's leading 4 seconds over Ryan Woodrow, who's in the car number 3, which is, I believe, one of the Simply Racing Esports cars. The other Simply Racing Esports is down in P15. That is, I've never seen that name before. Is it Evgeny? Evgeny, we'll say it like that. Evgeny Nateman, who's sitting down in 15th in the car too. So yeah, Simply Racing Esports having a decent race for one, but the other having a really terrible race down at the bottom of the field.
Yeah, Evgeny? That's not Evgeny, is it?
Evgeny? I don't know. It's an odd one.
know.
That is.
Yeah, it's because it just doesn't seem like it's spelled like Evgeny, but it could be Evgeny. But either way, yeah, down in 15th place. Not a great race here for the 2 car, but keeping their pace up, keeping their hopes up, and keeping out on track. So this race isn't over by any means. We still have another hour and 47 minutes to go. But Lang out front there, Woodrow keeping Lang within touching distance. That gap has not really grown any. It was 3/8, now it's 3/9, up to 4.1 seconds actually after that last sector time just updated. But
yep.
Woodrow keeping pace here with Lang, not really letting him get away. He's not gaining on him, but he's not. He's just keeping him in touch throughout the race here. So it's been very interesting. And
the penalty for Brunschwitz was due, I believe, to that incident that he had that his teammate Stazak had with Giacomelli down the final couple of corners. That, I think, is what that penalty is for. It was a 15-second penalty for a major collision between cars 67 and 201. So that would be for that incident between those two. Obviously, both of those aren't in the car now, so that's not good for Brunschwitz because he's got a penalty that he didn't even, he was in the car when the penalty came through. As you know, head down into turn 2, and then Ruby now looking to get through on Calandrino, because Calandrino can't get through on Rolando Mesa. Now we have the inside line for Enrubia. Can he put himself up into P10? Yes, he can. Now he had a better line through there, better speed, and he was able to carry that through into P10. And that's not good, is it? Because you don't want to be overtaken by the car you've just overtaken, because I believe Calandrino before did get through on Enrubia, but Rolando Mesa held up Calandrino too much.
That was a big touch of that turtle curb there on the inside that really compromised his line. And when he made the move through Varianti Tamburello, he made the move quite nicely, but it really compromised his exit as well. So Calandrino really had an opportunity to jump right back at him, but unable to take advantage of both the mistakes. So Calandrino's got to be frustrated. And you start to wonder, it looks like he's losing a little bit of pace. Maybe the adhesion of those slick tires is starting to go on him, so he's not got the grip that he had beforehand. That Lamborghini doesn't look like it's as quick as the Ferrari, which maybe things are starting to turn a little bit. Maybe as we get further into this race, maybe that Ferrari's pace starts to become a little bit more noticeable. Maybe it's more of a longer stint pace than a shorter race pace, so or shorter qualifying pace type deal. So let's see what the Ferraris are able to do here as we come into the second half almost of this race with 1 hour and 45 minutes left.
Yeah, so we'll see pit stops now. The second pit stop's in around 15 to 20 minutes. You know, right at that 1 hour 30, 1 hour 20 mark is when we'll see the second pit stops from the drivers. Then about 40 minutes to 30 minutes we'll see the final pit stops. At the moment, luckily, it's going to be dry for the next 30 minutes at least. It is dry for now, dry in 10 minutes and dry in 30. Obviously, that can change throughout the race. I remember in the chat someone said the weather could be a little bit mixed up today, so we could see a bit of rain coming into play, which if it did, could really change the race around. Because obviously some of these drivers will have setups with a bit more downforce, some might have some with a bit higher. Obviously you've also got the other bits and pieces as well that make up a setup. Some obviously be optimal only for dry, some might work in both conditions, some might work only in the wet. So if the wet weather does come, then we'll be able to see that difference in the setups and see who set their car up for what condition. But I think most of them have got their car set up for a dry condition track, because I think most of the time it is dry around here. As we, well, we're on board Louis Zelch, who's trying to get himself back into that battle with Sabirov, who's also dropped his 12 seconds back from Ryabkov. Remember, these top 5 are all within a second of each other before the pit stops. Now, the gap between Lang and Zelch is around 23 seconds. So, that gap is really, really increasing. But Lang, he's just put some great pressure on, and he's really got some great pace. Same for Woodrow as well. Obviously, taking over from Willemot, he's put himself onto a really great, he's doing some really great pace. He's currently on a 41.6 for his previous lap, just 2 tenths back from what Benjamin Lang did. It's 4 tenths quicker than Ryabkov, and it's nearly a second quicker than Sabirov. So, yeah, the top 2 at the moment are pulling away heavily. And I think at the moment, Lang is looking to take that win. I think Woodrow's looking easily to take the P2. And then I think Ryabkov, with the gap he's got to Sabirov, even though he's a little bit slower, he's still looking to keep that P3 pretty easily.
Zelch losing a lot of rear end there, able to keep it under control. But the rear end of that Lamborghini is looking very, very, very loose coming through Varianti Villeneuve. We jump up here to Sabirov. Yeah, like you said, Sabirov definitely having the pace, but Rybakov just kind of keeping his head down, unable to really make any headway on Woodrow, but not losing any time as well to P4 there. So this is a great position if you're Rybakov, because you don't really have to worry too much about P4 coming into play here in this next pit sequence. You can kind of just take advantage of the space that you have and just kind of not necessarily relax, but I do want to point out the way that the overcut worked out so well in that first pit sequence. Does that, if you're in a close battle and you're the lead car of that close battle, does that give you the advantage because you can force the car behind you to, pit first, basically?
Yeah, I think that is how it works. Because obviously, if you're ahead, and just say, the example we had with Willemot and De Campo couldn't get through. At that point, he might save time himself from pitting earlier. But obviously, in pitting earlier, he might save time from the car ahead. But then, obviously, if there's people far ahead, P1 and P2, he'll lose time to them. So it's one of those, you can gain over the person ahead, but you're going to lose over the pack on a whole. So, it's one of those, it can work and it can't. But I think, to be fair, for many drivers on the grid, I think doing an overcut works better. I think even if you're in a train, I'd still stick with an overcut. But, obviously it comes down to pace and all stuff like that, and who's going to be jumping in the car afterwards. That can define it more of what the strategy is. But just looking at the top 5, we're going to talk about results. So, obviously, Team 1, car 144, they finished second in the last race. They're now looking for a P1. So they're looking for a P2, P1. Then Woodrow in car 3, they finished P9 along with Willemot in the last race. They're looking for a P2, so they're going P9, P2. Then Ryabkov in car 96 along with who was it now? Along with Ryabkov, I believe it was Ermakov in the last race as well. They finished P15. Then they're looking for a P3. Then Sabirov in car 13 along with his teammate of. Let's try and find him on the screen. R13, that was with Polyakov. They won last race, didn't they? They're now looking for a P4. And then Zelch and De Campo, they finished third in last race. They're looking for a P5. So the battle in the championship's quite close. We've had a spin from Matt Zola or some sort of incident, because we did have a bit of a caution there for him, but I think he's got himself going again yet, because he's lost quite a bit of time there to the back of Zelch. So that's not ideal for him as we come down in towards the Ravatsas.
He's lost quite a bit of time there, but it didn't bring Cosford into play here, as we see Brunschwitz already on the back here of Cosford, able to really just leave and Rubia in the dust a little bit here. Obviously, they got that 15-second penalty they're going to have to serve in the next pit stop, but it's going to be Brunswick's really just trying to take advantage and move as far up the field as he possibly can, because he's got to, you know, distance himself because of that penalty. He's got to do everything he can. So getting around this Porsche right now with Cosford is pretty much everything, because he's getting held up so much, and he was able to gain up to the back of him very quickly. So it's going to be extremely important. But I think Brunswick's is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. He has to gain as much time as possible to negate that 15-second penalty, but it's so tough to pass here at Imola. He's going to have to force a move.
Yes, it's really not ideal, because you know, he's looking at coming out P13 with that penalty. You know, it's not ideal, especially when it wasn't him that caused it. You know, it's a big shame for him, because he's got to take the brunt of that penalty, and it wasn't even him who caused the collision. It was his teammate. So I'm sure that Brunswick will be quite angry with what Stazak did as all. He goes off track there, then Taco Minerale. So yeah, he'll be having a word with his teammate, maybe telling Stazak to be a bit calmer on the next stint. Don't send dive bombs, don't end up taking people out, just be a bit calm. You know, just let the race happen as it happens. There's also got Gartner as well in the car 21 in the other Simply Race Esports. Well, the third of the Simply Race Esports. He's trying to get himself up onto the back of Mitchell, who's in the Brabham Esports car. He's currently sitting in P12, and they've had a pretty decent start. They started last at P18, they moved up to P12. Gartner as well started a bit further down the field. He's up into P13. There's also Calandrino on the back of Rolando Mesa. That's a battle for P10. The 323 and the 201 of the SPQ racing team and the Tyre Sim Racing Esports team, as we now head down in towards turn 2 with these two, and still Brunswick and Cosford fighting. But I think those two, they're just pulling each other along. I don't think they're really fighting for much, because Brunswick isn't getting close enough to make a move. He's just getting close enough to be able to be pulled along with the Porsche.
Yeah, he's definitely getting pulled along, that's for sure, but he's just kind of stuck almost, so he's losing time here. He's able to gain up on him very quickly, but now he's just losing time, unable to really distance himself from Enrubia there, so that's just hurting him more and more every single lap. So it's a little too early for a pit stop, but he might have to start thinking about a pit strategy change here because of the fact that he can't get around this Porsche.
Yeah, he needs to think of something different, because I think at this point, maybe he could try an overcut. I think that could work. It worked for Woodrow and Willamette in car number 3. So I think, yeah, if he can stay out, I think the overcut would work. But if he's going to start losing more time, then do you start to consider, oh, maybe we'll try the undercut? As we head down in towards Variantiel, so the gap's 6.2 seconds. They're not really losing much time to Mazzola. So I think we could try the overcut with these. I think that could work.
Well, the thing is, like you said, obviously the overcut is the stronger of the two moves here at Imola so far today. But that being said, that doesn't matter. There he goes. Yeah. Right through to the Rivazza 1, and he's going to have the job done. Coming down the pit straight here. He's going to be free, and this is going to allow him that clean air. He's going to chase after Mazzola now.
Well, they must have been listening to us and thought, actually, no, pass him. They're gonna lick our strategy. Quick, we can't let the Porsches of Ballas Esports have an advantage. So he's passed them now, and he's going to have to try and charge after Mazzola. Obviously, he's got that 15-second penalty, so he pretty much will lose that position back to Cosford anyway. But you know, you still want to get yourself through. You still want to work your way through the field. He's sitting in P7. Either way, on pace, they're still doing a pretty decent job. They've got a fastest lap of a 41.4, which is right about 70,000 from the fastest lap of Benjamin Lang, who's got the fastest lap overall in this race.
Yeah, they clearly have a lot of pace in that Lamborghini. It's been such a strong car. This move was so important because, yeah, he's going to lose that position right back to Cosford, but he's going to be able to gain so much time now that he's finally gotten past him and into some free air. And if he's able to make a move, catch up out of the back of the Mazzola and make a move there, you know, who knows? Maybe that 15-second penalty won't be such an issue after all in the long run, but right now that is just staring them dead in the face where they could be compared to where they are right now because of that penalty.
Yep, and I think obviously now we're 1 minute and 35, so we're about 5 minutes away from the half point of the race. We're on lap 50 now. So, yeah, we'll get about 100 laps in, 110 laps in. So, yeah, halfway through, the pit stops will start to all trundle in now as we get close to that 45-50 minute mark. And currently the top 5 is car 144 of Team 1. That's got Benjamin Langer, Julian Fox, and we have Ryan Woodrow and Grant Willamot sitting P2 in the SimGrid Racing Esports. Then we have Roy Abkov, he's sitting in third with the number 96, that's alongside Ermakov. Then we have P4 for Sabirov, he's sitting alongside Polyakov. And then P5 is the GT Omega Team Shizou Racing Team. They are sitting with Louis Elch and Mattia Di Campo. So, yeah, the top 5 all similar to what it was originally, but the one we did lose, I believe, was it 1-2? What it was, wasn't it? The car 1-2-1, that was Pamfirov and Berzakovsky. They've dropped down all the way down to P17 after an incident. Actually, they're in a battle now. That was an incident where they stopped here, where they are now. It was a bit of a weird one. Must have been some sort of glitch. Oh, and there's a big spin. The bit of contact there. As we talk about Berzakovsky, he spins for Vasilev round. And that is really bad, isn't it, for him now? He's going to lose so much time to the back of Biancon in car 55.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be a penalty there. I don't see any other way around that. Vasilev was definitely ahead. Everything looked fine as we see John Garza coming out of the penalty. He got a drive-through penalty. I didn't want to interrupt you, but it was just he just received that a moment ago. So go ahead and take care of that immediately. Unfortunate for John Garza, and we'll have to see if we can get a reasoning for the drive-through.
That's what I'm going to have a look for now. I had a look just, but it wasn't on there, so I believe it might be a bit delayed. We'll have a little check now. And the drive-through penalty, I will have a little look. Let's have a look. So
he gets out of the way here for our race leader.
Yeah,
Lang coming through there, so great job there for him. Yeah, I'm not sure if you've done too many, had too many opportunities to work with James yet, but James is very angry when it comes to blue flags, so he would be very, very, very happy to see that blue flag getting out of the way there, Garza getting out of the way of Lang.
Yeah, well, I was with James on the Nürburgring race, and it was a topic many times about blue flags. To be fair, I do agree with him on a certain extent. So I think, you know, if you do get the blue flags, try and move over. If that means you end up losing time, then don't. But if you could just move over on a straight, lose maybe a tenth of a second, let the car through, I think that's fair. But don't go out of your way to lose 3 or 4 seconds due to it, and don't end up causing a collision or whatever while doing so. But yeah, James was definitely talking a lot about the blue flag. So it seems that was the only time then he seemed to have an issue with them.
Yeah, no, James, he's got very strong opinions on blue flags.
Also,
for sure.
Woodrow, he's made a mistake. He's dropped. He's dropped now behind Ryabkov. It puts the lead up to 11.2 seconds on my screen between Lang and Ryabkov. So that is a big, big change there. 11 seconds. Literally, Lang could have a spin and still come out ahead at this point.
Yeah, I think if you're Lang, are you kind of... Oh, is that Rybakov coming in the pits?
It is, along with Sabirov. No, it's not. Who was that? One of the green cars going to the pits.
It was Woodrow. No,
Berzakovsky. There we go.
Okay.
Sit the back,
I think I'm a little surprised. Like, Rybakov, obviously we're not the head of those two, that team. We don't know what's going on between the communication and their pit strategy there. But if I was going to pick anybody that was going to come in right there at that time, it would have been Woodrow. I'm really surprised after that spin that they stayed out, because you've already lost all that time. Why not just, edit your pit strategy just a tiny bit, just, try to negate as much of that as possible. But they stayed out, and to my surprise, Rybakov comes in, so we're going to see a change of drivers for the 96 car. And that is going to be Ermakov coming back in for Rybakov. So that's such a strong driver lineup. The Armamentario, is that how you say it? Armamentario?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah. I believe it is, yeah.
The 96 car, Mikhail Ermakov and Viktor Rybakov, both absolutely putting in stunning race so far. Both of their stints have been phenomenal. So as we see Louis Zelch here coming on the back of Zabarov. Nope, that is the lapped car of
blue flags.
I apologize.
Yeah, that is, I believe. Oh, a bit of contact, wasn't it? Was that a bit of contact, or did who was it?
He just got out of the way at the last second. It just looked like it could be contact. I don't think there was any actual contact though.
Let's see now, head through. And Rubia looking to get very close to the back of Cosford. Cody Cosford doing a pretty decent job in that P7 for the Porsche. The other Porsche sitting up in first, who's actually now pitted. Benjamin Lang into the pit, so now it will mean we have Julian Fox taking to the wheel yet again. He did the first stint, he's now on board for the third stint. Oh, I'm getting the team radio there from one of the cars. I think that was Rubia's team radio I got given about he can keep pushing the car ahead's losing time or something. So yeah, that's the radio message to him. As now there we are. So Woodrow takes the lead of the race. Remember, the overcut worked last time for him. I think he's going to go for that again. And Giacomelli gets a stop-go penalty of 30 seconds, which is that's a really harsh penalty, isn't it? That.
Oh, that is brutal. Absolutely brutal. We'll have to see if we can get an explanation for that as well, because as a driver, you never want to be stopped in the pit lane for any amount of time, really. Obviously, you have to come in and fuel up and get tires, but just adding that extra 30-second stop-go, absolutely brutal.
Yeah, currently I don't have them. Oh, that's a battle there between Rubia and Costa.
Oh.
I was looking there to try and find the reason for the penalty for Giacomelli, but no, we got interrupted by this battle between these two and there. I think Rubia just forced his way through, didn't he? He thought, no, Cody, you can stay behind. You're a bit slower, just let me through. And he's put himself now up into the top 6, and that's Mazzola fighting with Brushitz as well. Then at Tosa, and I think Brushitz just had a better line into that corner, put himself up into the top 4 now, as obviously you'll have to pit because everyone here now pretty much has still got a pit. I think we've got about 5 or 6 drivers that have gone into the pit lane, about 8 now, because I can see Regan Mitchell and Nateman also into the pits to go on to their 3rd stint, as Fox, Makov, Hemsoth and Shirek all on their 3rd stints as well. So surely we'll see the top 4 pits soon. And Matt Taylor's still going to try and stick behind the back of Brunschitz as they head down in towards Variantielta, and Cosford also trying to hang on to the back of Rubia still as they head down now also into that corner of Shibek and Hemsoth fighting side by side out of. Tosa goes side by side up towards Brutella, and Shibek qualified in the top 8. He's currently sitting P16. This race has just tumbled down for them, hasn't it? Then we have Paulik in the pits as well. He's swapping out car 62. That is the Bradman Esports driver. That was Mitchell that went in for him. As we now head down towards turn 2 with him. So yeah, pretty much everyone in the pits now, just still the top 4 not going out at the moment. Yep, and Michael's going to pop out for a second. He'll be back with us shortly. Oh, he's back.
Back already? Yeah.
Welcome back. No worries.
Pop out for just a moment there, but...
Ermakov! A drive-through. Oh, no. That is not good at all for car 96, is it?
Oh, that is absolutely brutal for car 96. They were doing so well. We'll have to get an explanation for that, too, as we see this penalty system is just absolutely changing the complexion of this race time after time. We saw it happen at Nürburgring with... You know, the 144 car absolutely dominating the race and ended up coming in 2nd because of a penalty. Well, here in Imola, we're seeing drive-throughs and 10-second penalties and 15-second penalties and stop-and-goes all up and down the field. It's not limited to just like one section of drivers. You know, it's affecting absolutely everybody as we see Ermakov with that drive-through. Do you think he's going to try to make that happen immediately, or do you think he's going to wait it out before he is going to come in for that drive-through? How long do you think he's able to push it out?
It's a hard one. If he can start to pull away from Giacomelli, then he could. He could leave it a bit later. If that gap's sticking around the same, which it is at the moment, maybe his best bet would be to hop into the pit, serve it now. Then once you've done it, once you've got it out of the way, you haven't got to worry. From now on, he'll be constantly thinking of that penalty. It'll be in the back of his mind. You know, I need to pull away. I need to pull away. But if he serves it now, that's gone. You know, we can just focus then on trying to catch back up. So I don't know. It's a difficult one. If I was quicker, then I'd stay out. But if I'm not, then I'll serve it now and get it out of the way.
We know Ermakov has definitely got plenty of pace here, as Giacomelli right behind him. This has been a very close battle so far. We haven't seen these two on track together yet, so this is going to be an interesting battle, but Giacomelli right behind him with the stop and go. So very interesting strategy to kind of contemplate here for both of these drivers when they want to take those penalties and get rid of them. Me personally, I want to get rid of it as soon as possible. If I can come in and just knock it out and just not have it on my mind, not be stressed out about it at all, that's what I'm going to choose, just because when I'm out on track, I want to focus on nothing but being out on track, as we see quite a few drivers coming in for pits right now. I believe it was Zelch, Mazzola, and Cosford, and Rubia. Ermakov coming through as well. I think Ermakov was listening to what I was saying and getting rid of that drive-through penalty.
Yep, and Fox now is currently in P5. The 4 ahead have got to pit still. And at the moment he's leading, well, we can see Louis Selch, who will now be, well, it'll now be Mattia De Campo behind the wheel as they come out the pits. 32 seconds to Zell, to De Campo. That has worked really well for Fox now, and I'm intrigued to see what the gap will be between Fox and Woodrow, because Woodrow's still staying out. He's not going to pit yet. It will be Willemot going back behind the wheel, and I think, to be fair, Woodrow had a bit more pace than Willemot, so we'll see. That'll be interesting to see what Willemot can do on that third stint. Sabirov, he's going to head back into pits soon as well to put Poliakov back behind the wheel. They're currently sitting 15 seconds back from Woodrow, and that's about 30-40 seconds back from Fox, who'll easily pass them in the under the pit stop. And now Danny Santo, he's sitting right behind the back of Ermakov. He's already pitted. So Santo, the car 343, they've made it work heavily because they're literally right behind Ermakov at this moment. So Santo looking to put himself into the top 7, which would be a really great result. Considering the last race, they really didn't do that well. I think in the last race, they were somewhere, I think, like P11 or P12.
Yeah, this is definitely a very solid outing, especially with we've seen how tough it is for that Ferrari around Imola tonight. So definitely a very solid result here so far, up into P8 for Santo and the 343. Let me bring up my stat sheet here. I apologize. But yeah, no, definitely a very solid run so far tonight. We still have another stint and a half to go, another hour and 23 minutes left of this race. So we are not done by any stretch of the imagination, as we see Giacomelli's stop-and-go penalty has been removed. So I guess Giacomelli has gone ahead and served that already. We see Whitford in 9th place there. Iannone in 10th place. Iannone had quite a bit of pace in the first stint there, so it's going to be very interesting to see what he's able to do. I believe they started up in P4. Is that correct? He was the one that put the qualifying lap in, that's for sure.
He did. He got a great lap in, and they dropped down. And Sabirov now in the pits. He'll be heading on to, I believe it's Poliakov, who's going to be in the second seat of that number 13 car. And still, Brunschitz staying out with that 15-second penalty. So he's going for a major overcut. We've got 1 minute and 22 seconds left. He's going to be looking for a 50-minute stint nearly in that... oh, well, he's listened to me because he's pitted. So we ignore that one. He's in the pits now. Rolando Mesa has also got to pit as well. I don't think he's pitting just yet. We'll have a look. You know, he is. So he's pitted as well. It's just Woodrow still staying out now. And we'll see now how far back Fox will be compared to Woodrow as we head through. And Fox getting through on these three now. Mesa, Brunschitz and Sabirov. The gap's a minute to Woodrow. So that's a pretty decent gap. And the question is now, when does Woodrow decide to pit? Does he surely, do you think he'll pit soon, Michael, or do you think he'll stay out for a bit longer?
I mean, he's definitely got quite a bit of pace. We saw that so far in this stint. I think he's had the most pace between the two drivers so far, that's for sure. Grant Millamont had a solid first stint there, but obviously Woodrow has just gone a little bit further, a little bit faster, and able to really just extend this stint. The longer he's able to stay out there, I think it's going to come to an advantage, but that is going to come to an end here as we're going to see him jumping into the pits. We're going to see Willemot coming back out in the Ferrari for his second stint, and that's going to bring Julian Fox currently coming through turn 17. No, I apologize. He is not through there.
He's coming through in towards Mako Minerali as Pamfirov has got a penalty, 25 seconds.
Oh, that's just an absolutely heartbreaking for the 121. Started up towards the front of the field, had that big incident, and now just kind of keeping pace there. 3 laps down, 17th place. They were the ones that disconnected, so that's definitely a problem for them.
It's a big shame, isn't it?
I do want to point out that Stasic there in 9th place right now, just on the back of Ione. Got around Rolando Mesa, so that is huge with that 15-second penalty now cleared, and they're already past Rolando Mesa. I thought on track they were going to have to make a pass because of that, but that is definitely a big advantage here for the 67 car.
Yeah,
we see Grant Wilmot coming out, and now where is Fox going to be? Fox is already ahead, isn't he?
Yep, the gap was 14 seconds before the pit stops. It's now 14 again, so it's pretty much kept the same as now. Is that Poliakov gaining? No, it's not. That's a different driver. Poliakov's only just come out of Ravatsa 2. So this is looking good for Woodrow into turn 2 now, behind, I believe, one of the lapped cars. That might be Pamfirov, who is in car 121. They disconnected earlier on after being in this battle for the top 5, which is a big shame for them. They're about 2 or 3 laps down on the rest of the field. There's now Stazak also looking to get through an in on as well, down in towards that first Ravazza, the final couple of corners of the Imola circuit. And I've got to say, you've got to appreciate how beautiful this circuit is. It's a really nice circuit. It's one of the oldest, I think, that I'll commentate on. But it is just a beautiful circuit. I've drove it in the GT3s, I've drove it in the Formula 1s, I've commentated over Formula 1 and GT here now. And I just look, every time, the racing is just amazing. I love the track. What do you think about the track, Michael?
I think it's a great track. Personally, it's always kind of, we see a big off there by Stazak. He's going to have to give up that position. Yeah, gives up that position. That was a huge mistake coming through Villeneuve there. But absolutely tough track, and it's just so hard to make a pass here in these GT3 cars. You don't have the advantage of a DRS system like you do in Formula 1. You're so much wider, so much heavier. It's just such a challenge. And as much as I love driving this track, it just always just kind of makes me learn something new every time. It always just kind of snaps at me. It always, I always have such a tough time driving here. But I absolutely love this track, love the layout, and I love the way it looks here in ACC. It looks so beautiful.
It does. I think as well with the way this track is designed, there's a lot to learn. You've got the, you've got the hairpin down at Tosa. You've got the slow speed section down at the Ravazzas and the Variante Alta. Then you've got that really horrible corner at Acqua Minerale, which is a corner of its own, an uphill chicane. It's really difficult to drive. You've got the couple of chicanes here in Sector 1 at the Tamburello and Villeneuve. There's just so many different types of corners. So, you can learn so much from just this one track itself. You can learn the brake and you can learn the high speed, the low speed corners. I just think it's a great track for learning how to drive, especially in these GT3 cars, because, for me, they are quick and I like driving them. And I think the thing is, because of how much more in depth they are compared to the likes of the Formula 1 cars in the Formula 1 games, there's such a big skill gap. In Formula 1, I can be a second off the world record. Around ACC, I can be about 6 seconds off. Even though I feel I'm quicker in the GT3 cars, I think it's just the realism's that, it's that much better. It's like, I think all the tracks are laser scanned as well, all the cars, they're pretty much accurate to the real life versions. I just think this game is just really great, and I think this track is a great representation of how good this game is.
And it's nice to see the current generation of all these cars, the new Lamborghini, the new Ferrari, the 992 Porsche. The BMW was updated. Obviously, some of these other cars, that's all the cars that we're seeing in the field, other than the McLaren. Obviously, McLaren hasn't had an update in quite a long time, but all these new gen cars are absolutely stunning. They look great. They sound amazing. We were discussing earlier, my computer's a potato, so I haven't been able to really drive too much in ACC because my computer just doesn't like to run it because it sucks. But aside from that, no, these cars are just absolutely a blast. And like you said, there's just so much difference between them and a Formula 1 car, but there's also so much difference between each car, the way each car drives. Obviously, you have a difference when it comes to Formula 1. Obviously, each team has its own, research and development, and every car is completely different. You and your teammate have the exact same car, assuming you have the same upgrades. But aside from that, there's a big difference. There's a big variance between obviously a Red Bull and a Haas or whatever. But with these GT3 cars, I know the BOP here in ACC is a little bit off. It needs to be balanced quite a bit, but there's such a variance between each car, just the way that they drive. And I'm not even getting into the whole BOP, scenario. I'm just saying that the way a Porsche drives compared to the way a Ferrari is so much more planted, or compared to the way the Lamborghini has so much grunt coming out of the corners. It's just so interesting that it really brings out the difference in drivers in driving style. If somebody is extremely quick in a Porsche but not so great in a Lamborghini, or really it's probably more the opposite because the Porsche is so hard to drive. But you see such a variance between not necessarily driver skill, but driver
preference,
style. Yeah, exactly. Preferences. We see Stasek right on the back here of Iannone, and this has been a great battle as well as we follow along.
It has, as we come through the variante to the gaps about 4 tenths between the two. Putting up pretty much similar times in the mid-41s for these. So a 41.5 on the last lap for Iannone and a 41.4 for Stasek on his previous lap as they now charge down in towards the Ravazza 1 and 2. And currently the gap between Fox and Wilmot is 18.2 seconds, so it's growing slowly. And the gap between DeCampo and Polyakov has came down. That's 2.1. So now the battle's starting to come down between these two for the top 3, obviously, at the moment. DeCampo would love to give Shazoo that second podium. I believe at the moment, if Shazoo get the podium and so do 144, they're the only 2 cars to get double podiums. And if you're going into if you go into 2 rounds and take 2 podiums in a row, you are going to be one team to beat. I think at the moment the strongest teams are looking like are looking at you're looking at 144 of Team 1, you're looking at F1 Means, you're looking at Team Shazoo. I think they're the ones to beat. I think at the moment, yes, Wilmot's doing a great job, but I think, from where they come in the first round, they've got a lot of ground to make up here at Valencia, Spa and Silverstone to put themselves into that, into that top 3 spot. Because remember, only the top 3 in the championship are guaranteed a GT3 spot in the finals. 4th and 5th get a GT4 spot, and obviously 6th, 7th and 8th have to fight for the playoffs. So you want to be in that top 3. You want to, obviously GT3s and GT4s, there's a big difference. GT3 quicker. So you want to be in that GT3 car. So, it's a close one. There's a lot to fight for, isn't there, between these teams? And all of these teams, they're all quick established professional teams, So they're all going to be fighting for these spots. So you've got the likes of Brabham Esports, the official Brabham Esports. They want to put their mark, and unfortunately they have done so in these last 2 races. And obviously Team 1, I have a feeling they got something to do with Veloce for some reason. I saw something about Veloce the other day, and I saw Team 1 get mentioned. So I believe there might be some relevance between those two. Obviously Shazoo, they've raced with F1 iRacing as well, so they're a really good team, quite established team in the F1 community and the ACC community. And then obviously you've got Synthraise Esports. I haven't seen much of them because I'm not really clued up on ACC itself, so I'm not really sure where I've seen them, but I've heard the name. So I believe they're also another good team as we want to look back at the battle between Stasek and Iannone as they come down into turn 2.
Yeah, that's going to be Iannone making the move on the outside. This battle has been going on for quite a bit. Iannone is able to just stay ahead of Stasek, but this battle has been very ferocious here between the 2 Lamborghinis. So neither of these cars are going to have any advantage over the other anywhere around the track. This is just going to be driver versus driver here. So we see Iannone and Stasek, but it looks like, I apologize. I think Iannone did get around Stasek there. Or, no,
Stasek got around.
Stasek got around Iannone. So I apologize. I had that backwards there. So yeah, it's great move there by Stasek. I guess we cut in at the very end there. I thought it was Iannone just completing a little defensive line, but I guess I had that backwards there. So I do apologize to Stasek in the 67 car.
Schubeck has got a drive-through, which isn't good at all, is it? Their race it's just tumbled down and down, hasn't it? It's going from bad to worse to very worse. So they're now going to be coming P16, which really isn't what they would want, is it? Well, yes, they'll take points. They'll still take about 30 points, I believe. But, it's not ideal, is it? Considering they was in the top 8.
They might not fall back to 16 because Bourdais is 2 laps down. So Schubeck, I don't think they were any laps down before this. So they should be safe in P15.
No, he's ahead.
But obviously...
Yeah, Bourdais ahead, I think.
Bourdais ahead.
On my screen,
yeah. You are correct. Yeah. I'm seeing that as well. So
it seems that
is definitely...
the timing tower on the game that you have is a bit different to the timing tower I have. I think mine's a bit less delayed on yours because I've got the race control app, and mine's a little bit ahead. So that's a shame, isn't it? Oh, and that's blue flags there. I believe that might be. Who was that getting through there? Was that Ermakov? Yes, it was Ermakov. Getting through on the lap car of Bourdais. Now, 2 laps down? That's not good at all, is it, for those? They had a pretty poor race, unfortunately, down in Nürburgring. We'll have a look where they finished there. As I believe they finished, they finished down in 13th.
Yeah,
so
he's been having a pretty solid race here so far. They were up in the P3 there, so kind of fallen back quite a bit, but they did have that 15-second penalty, I do believe, so that's probably got quite a bit to do with it, why they're 16.1 seconds back from 4th place in the Campo currently. So.
Yep, yes, we know. Head to the final corner, lap 64 now of 3 hours, we'll say. So we're just over halfway through now, about 60% through the race. We've got 1 hour and 9 minutes remaining. We'll see pit stops in around 25 minutes for the final stint as we head down in towards turn 2 with De Campo.
Campo having a pretty solid race himself, 3 seconds back from Polyakov. I really thought that he was going to be able to put a little pressure on that McLaren, but he's fallen off the pace here a little bit, and that's brought him in the clutches of Ermakov. So Ermakov, you know, really making up for that 15-second penalty, but still got to be extremely frustrating. This is really just kind of putting that battle for P3 up into the air between these 3 cars right now.
Yeah, and Ian still sitting 2 seconds back from Stazak. That's about for P8 and P9. Obviously, you do get points for pretty much every position you finish in here. As P8 and P9, they get 58 points and 55 points. So it's still a big chunk of points onto the board. And obviously, you know, if you sit in P7, P8 in a race, you're looking pretty solid to get yourself a 7th rated in the championship as long as you keep it consistent. As we now come through in towards, I believe, Tosa with Ian on, and that's a little battle ahead. I think that might be a lapped car. It's not Pamfirov. Who is it? Let's have a little look through. I can't see who that might be. As well, we're going board with Whitford. He's coming through now, and Whitford, we spoke about him at the start, but he's kind of just chilled back, hasn't he? Cody Cosford had a bit of an intense stint himself, but Whitford's kind of got himself up into a bit of free air, and he's just driving along, isn't he? He's just playing the perfect game, just being consistent.
Yeah, that 7th place right now is looking very strong for this Porsche. I believe that at the end of the first stint, I believe Whitford had a bit of an issue there and lost a little bit of time, so that put Cosford into quite a bit of trouble. So Cosford able to kind of weather the storm a little bit, and Whitford coming back out into 7th place here. So this has been a very solid race so far for that Porsche, the 54 car of the Team Bala's esports team. That is, they have two cars here in the field today. The 55, which no, they don't have the 50. Yeah, they do. Schubik, yeah, back down in 16th place. We discussed them momentarily ago. But Ianon really starting to close back in on the back of Stas. Nope, that's the blue flag that we saw that we couldn't really quite tell who it was. Is that Hemseth? That might be Hemseth.
I think it might be. I've had a look now as he's in P13. He's coming through towards the Aqua Minerale. I'm not sure who it might be. Is it Schubek? Oh, there's a bit of contact between these two nearly here. That's Schubek and...
Yep, that is Schubek.
Car 202. So that is Ianon. Oh, Ianon goes deep there out of the Villeneuve chicane, heading back down in towards Tosa, and Schubek trying to get himself through. And he's putting a bit of pressure under Ianon. You shouldn't really be putting pressure under someone that's, a lap ahead, should you really? Well, 2 laps ahead in this case.
Not when you have the...
Rodriguez into the wall.
Oh, that was a big hit.
That is a big shunt into the wall. That is down at the Villeneuve chicane, isn't it? It looks like he's obviously took the car and he might have bounced on the curb. It's just pushed the car through, or he could have touched the gravel and the grass on the braking zone. But that is a big shunt there. And considering, they were sitting in 11th, they had a really decent race. We'll see if we can get a better look at the car from that angle. Yeah, it's a big shunt on the front left there. That'll be a lot of damage. They'll lose a lot of time there, which is a big, big shame for Rodriguez in the car 333, which is obviously part of Tyre Sim Racing Esports. Yeah, it's not they would have wanted. I think they'll continue, but they'll lose a lot of time to the likes of Conrad Kula, who's in the car number 2. He's just coming down in towards Aqua Minerale at this second.
Yeah, it looks like he's able to get through there pretty cleanly. He's going to gain on that car, so that should be a position done. And also, Rodriguez, that's a lot of damage there. They're probably going to have to come into the pits. We'll have to keep an eye on their lap times here, but that might be too much damage to continue on. It looks like actually he might have kept out, but I'm a little bit surprised with that as we see Whitford coming into play here. He's not too far off the back of the Santo there, so just 2.6 seconds off the last time they came around. But this is going to be a very interesting battle. See if that Porsche is able to get into the top 6 here.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see get into the top 6. I think it's possible because they're gaining quite a bit, aren't they, on the back of Santo and the car 343 for the other tyre racing sim, tyre sim racing esports. They're currently P6, 2.7s
not
back.
too far up the road either, so
No.
this might become very spicy indeed.
And actually,
these cars.
I believe Whitford would have took the fastest lap. He's done a 41.2. No, sorry. Pamphirov's did a 40.8, but out of the whole grid apart from Pamphirov, yeah, Whitvert's done the fastest lap of 41.2. So he's on some great pace, just cashing up to the back of Santo, and it just shows. Maybe some drivers regret not picking the Porsche, because it's looking like a really great race car, isn't it, so far on this race? We're, 2 hours in nearly, and it's been a pretty consistent car. The lap times don't really drop off as much as they do on the likes of the Ferraris, who, you know, they're really having a poor race, aren't they now, the Ferraris? Apart from Willemot, who's in second, and also Santo, the Ferraris are really losing pace.
Yeah, Pollock in 10th place there, Rodriguez, who had that big shunt, Kula in 12th place, Hemseth, and Schubert back in 15th place, obviously, with 2 laps down with that huge penalty. But yeah, that Ferrari has just not been able to really keep pace with anything today. Whitvet, like you said, very consistent lap times there, so that Porsche has been able to really mine the tires quite a bit, which is a bit surprising because it is so rear-end dependent, obviously, with the engine sitting behind the wheels and being a rear-wheel drive car. On top of that fact, it's definitely very, very hard to keep your tires in check when you're driving the Porsche. Obviously, it just likes to slip around. That's just how the Porsche likes to drive. So if you're very comfortable, if you're like a Max Verstappen, that's somebody that I would love to see in the Porsche Cup. I would love to see Max Verstappen in a Porsche Cup race, or a Porsche Super Cup race.
Yeah, I've always said I'd love to see Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso driving a GT3. I think that would be a great endurance lineup.
Oh, that would be amazing. Just to see them in something outside of an open wheeler, just because Max likes such a loose car. I think the Porsche is just like, I just feel like that'd be. And I'm not a huge Max Verstappen fan. I know I've talked about it a couple times. I'm actually not really a Max Verstappen fan at all. But that being said, I just feel like his driving style with a Porsche would just be an absolutely amazing situation to watch. As we take a look here at the Campo. Not really making any headway on Polyakov. Maybe they're waiting to the final stint, but right now just kind of keeping pace in 4th place, 3 seconds back, but not really losing pace, not really gaining pace, just kind of just sitting there. We saw DeCampo earlier in the race. We saw that big 4-car train back from 3rd place down to 6th place, and it was DeCampo that was at the back of that, so we know he's able to be patient. We know he has pace, so it's going to be very interesting to see what the 211 car is able to do in that 3rd and final stint at the hands of Lewis Zilch.
Looking through, it seems like he gains a bit of time, then he loses a bit of time. Like he can get within about 2.5 seconds, but then he drops back another 5/10 again. So it's weird. It's like as soon as he gets to that slipstream, the car loses pace. So it's not ideal because DeCampo wants to be into that top 3 surely, because obviously Polyakov, I've just realised, remember he's like P9, he's up in P3 at the moment comfortably. So yeah, that is even more of a reason for DeCampo to want to get through. You know, you don't want a car that's like 4 positions behind, finish a position ahead. So, you know, he wants to at least finish in that top 3. I think if Polyakov and Sibirov can keep that, keep that P3, that'd be such a great performance from them. And I think the championship would be quite close because it'd give Team 1 a P2 and a P1. It would give F1 Memes a P1 and a P3, which I think in the standings will put the gap to about 5 points going into Valencia.
That's extremely close there. I do want to see as close of a battle between them as possible here. But obviously, Fox in the 144 and his teammate Benjamin Lang just absolutely dominating this race so far. I was a little concerned at the start of this second stint here with Fox putting up such a defensive battle in that first stint that maybe he wouldn't be able to keep the distance between himself and Willemot like Lang was doing. But this has been such a strong stint here by Fox that he has not just kept that distance, but gained a couple seconds here too. So the 144 car in a great spot here to take advantage. Obviously finishing P2 last week because of a penalty, but you know, if they get a 15-second penalty now, they're in the clear.
They are. Yeah, it's a tight one, isn't it, between these top guys. I think coming down to it, I think the main battles we'll see is just P3. I think that is the main battle we'll see for the top people. That'll be F1 memes and Shazoo. But I think, you know, depending on what happens with Fox and Willamette, they could themselves also put themselves into a battle for that P1 as well. I think it's gonna, close in pretty quickly, because remember the gap between Fox and Willamette at one point was about 10 seconds. That gap did come down eventually. And Santo's made a mistake. He's gone off. Where's that? Down at Variante Alta, isn't it? There, he's lost the car. I think probably on the exit. He's had a bit of a spin. It's put Whitford ahead. So now the Porsche, as we said earlier, getting into the top 6. He's now in the top 6. He's gonna have to start charging after Ermakov in the top 5 as well in the 96.
Yeah, no, this is definitely going to be an advantage here for Whitvet there. He moving past Santo after making that mistake. And yeah, Ermakov is just up the road here. Santo is going to be falling back here a little bit. Ermakov up the road 8 seconds though. I'm a little surprised. I thought Whitvet was making a little bit more of a gain on him, but Ermakov definitely putting a little bit of distances in as we follow along here with Whitvet coming through the first of the 3 chicanes, I guess 3.5 chicanes if you want to count Aqua Minerale, but yeah, coming through into Variante Villeneuve here, it's so easy to just get a little bit too far out on the curbing there, and it will shoot you to the outside wall there almost, but able to really get pretty solid exit out of Tosa here. Coming up into a Peralta, that Porsche has been very strong so far, but Santo, after making that big mistake, is really just staying on the back end pretty well here, so this hasn't been too much of an off there. Obviously, he loses the position to Whitvet, but he hasn't lost too much time to Whitvet, so able to really keep within touching distance here as they come through out of Aqua Minerale and up into Variante Alta, and it looks like so far Whitvet is having a very solid lap time here, so he's able to kind of stay a little bit more comfortable than I originally thought he was going to be after Santo came back off of that incident there, and coming down and through into Ravazza 1 and 2, and it looks like this is going to be a pretty solid lap here for Whitfit, so able to take very big advantage of that incident by Santo, as we see Stasic also taking advantage, coming into play here about 3.4 seconds off the back of Santo, but that Lamborghini has been very strong. I'd like to see if he's able to close up a little bit. Yep, he's able to gain quite a bit actually, only 2.3 seconds, so he gained a whole second that last lap there, mainly because of the off by Santo. So this is going to be very, very important for Stasic to take advantage and get as close as possible, so he's able to make the overcut work during the final pit stop sequence, which we really should be seeing here soon. 57 minutes left here in the race, and should be, you know, obviously another 10 to 15 minutes left, I would say, before we see those final pit stops start to happen and the final driver changes.
Yeah, I think, you know, we're coming into the closing stage of this second sim. We'll start to see the likes of Whitvet, Santo, and Stazak close up. I think for Stazak, the good thing for him is obviously with Santo having that spin, you know, once you spin round, your tyres will get a bit roughed up. You might touch a bit of gravel, you know, that will also wear the tyres a bit more. So Santo's going to have to try and get his tyres back into that optimum position, because it'll be quite hot. They might have a bit of a flat spot. Whereas Stazak, his tyres are fine. He can just push along, and you can see there, he's taken a couple of tenths in the corners. Along the straights, he's losing a bit of time, but in the corners, he can gain a tenth here and there, which is really good, because it just shows, you know, his tyres are a lot better. You can see there, the straight, he lost a tenth on Santo. Coming through the Variante Alta, he gained 4 tenths. So, you know, he's slower in the straight line speed. You can see he's lost a tenth there, 3 tenths. But in the corners, he's so much quicker than the likes of Santo and Whitvet. And Whitvet's also, you know, he's doing a pretty good job, isn't it? Just keeping consistent behind Ermakov. He's slowly gaining. He's not gaining much at all to be thinking about a move at all. I think he's done with that P6. I think he'd be happy, along with the team at Ballas Esports, with that P6. As he's lost a bit of time as I say that. There's also De Campo yet again, closing within 1.8 seconds of Poliakov. All Poliakov's gone deep. You can see there, just roughing up a bit of gravel on the exit of toe, so that's lost him a bit of time. He's going to be, what? He's lost 5-6 tenths from that there. He only did a 42.4 in the last lap. whereas De Campo was 5/10 quicker. So now De Campo's going to start trying to put pressure on the back of Polyakov if he can, because he wants that podium. He wants that podium for Shizou. Shizou need that podium. They want to secure that top 3 in the championship. You know, 2 podiums back-to-back will really help them.
Yeah, this early in the season to have 2 podiums back-to-back, that's just a huge boost. Obviously, De Campo trying to get on the back of Polyakov, but really what he needs to do is just stay in touching distance, get as close as possible, and then when he hands the car off, you know, try to make that overcut work as good as possible, because we've seen it's been so strong here. So De Campo really just needs to hold it out as long as he possibly can and make Polyakov pit first, because that's just going to cause such a great advantage for them and for Louis Zelch when he gets back in the car. Although I do think De Campo has been the faster of the 2 drivers here so far tonight. Could be wrong, but I want to say that from just from the eye test alone, it looks like De Campo is having the stronger race of the 2. Not saying that Zelch hasn't had a good race. It's just that Lamborghini, the 211 at the hands of De Campo, has been very strong so far tonight.
Yeah, I think Shizou have had a pretty decent race, haven't they? I think, in
sure.
my eyes, I'd say, you know, excluding the likes of Team 1, I'd say Shizou are probably the second best in the race. I think both their drivers have been good on pace. So, yeah, I think, for me, they're probably the second best in this race.
Yeah, and I do want to apologize. We've been kind of neglecting the YouTube chat out there, so I want to give a shout out to quite a few people here. Team 1 actually out there in the YouTube chat. Actually, according to the penalty they received in Nürburgring, they had a look at it and agreed that it was 100% justified, that the lap car did absolutely nothing wrong. So that was 100% on their end, according to Team 1 here in the chat. So great on them, obviously, to, you know, admit that they were wrong, and obviously they have the pace here. So Willemot has taken a couple seconds out of Fox there, though, it looks like. So that gap is starting to come down. Maybe Julian Fox's tires are starting to leave him a little bit. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe they're just coasting a little bit to conserve a little bit of fuel, save as much as possible here for the last stint. But excellent race here by the Team 1 racing team. Also, they said they are an all-around privateer team who have somehow managed to get themselves up with the pros. I think that means that you are pros if you're up with the pros. So excellent race here by Team 1 last week and this week as well.
Yeah, and I think
last race and this race as well.
Well, when you're competing pretty much, you know, at the top dominantly for the past 2 races, I think you can call yourself a pro team. And with Julian and Benjamin behind the car, it's such a great team. I'll be honest, I've never heard of those 2 before. Actually, I know a couple of the pro ACC players, but Julian and Benjamin I haven't heard of. But they are a strong team. They are, I'd say, the top 2 drivers in this lobby easily. And the fact they're on the same team, it's great for Team 1. They are literally one. They are number 1. I think in this whole championship, no one's come close to them at all.
If they're not pros now, they will be extremely soon. So this has been an absolutely dominating race for Team 1 here tonight, and I can't wait to see this going forward, because these 2 drivers have been absolutely on fire. We saw a great stint in the beginning of the race by Fox to be, you know, throwing out the defensive line the entire stint and not having to break a sweat there, even though he was under pressure by not 1 but 2 Lamborghinis the entire time. And then obviously for his teammate there to take the pole position there, Benjamin Lang, to take pole position and just absolutely dominate that second stint there. And I mean, we still have one more stint yet to come of Benjamin Lang here, so we should see quite a bit more, pace here at the end of the race.
Well, we've got 51 minutes remaining, so I think in the next 10 minutes we'll see pretty much everyone pit, as Schubeck is gone into the pits now. He'll be switching back over to the other teammate in the car 55. That will be, I think, Leonardo Biancon, who will step into that car. So he'll be doing the final 50 minutes for kart 55, which I believe is, I think that's the second team of Banas Esports, if I'm correct. Sorry if I got that wrong.
That is correct. That is Balas Esports B. I don't think they're a B team. They're just the second team that is driven by Leonardo Biancon and, like you said, Lucas Schubeck, who's currently in the car. So we will be seeing Biancon coming out in the third and final pit stop.
And Stazak there looking for move on Santo, nearly taking the back of Santo out as they went into turn 2. I think Santo moved over a little bit too late there, and Stazak had to react quickly as they now come in towards the Villeneuve chicane, and you can see now Stazak right on the back of that Ferrari. Wants to get himself through, but can't do so just yet. And considering he's in the Lamborghini, you'd think really he would have swept past him, but no. He just can't get through. I think that's the only issue you find with the track. It's quite thin. I think the track itself's a nice design, but it's quite thin itself. It's difficult to get yourself through on an overtake, which has really caused issues for Stazak because, he's quicker. He was a 10th behind going into Villeneuve. He's now 7 tenths back going through and towards Piratella. De Campo is another one who suffered from that as well. He's been quicker than Poliakov, I think, this whole stint. But he just can't get through. He's 1.5 back, and an overtake that is Rodriguez and Kulat down into turn 1, and that's Simple Race Esports versus Tayat Sim Racing Esports. There, car 333. Under a bit of pressure now, and Giacomelli is on right behind the back of Keith Hemsoth, who's in the other Simply Race Esports. You can see there the green on the left-hand side by Biancon means he has completed all of his pit stops. Well, car 55 team Ballas have completed all their pit stops now, so they can get to themselves to the end. But many other people still have to do their pit stops. Look at this here. This is De Campo looking for an overtake on Poliakov. Up the inside, now in towards the Villeneuve chicane. He's got the better line. He's got the better traction into the corner. And now he puts himself up into that podium position. But he's got to defend it now, because it's going to be a lot easier for Poliakov to get himself back through with that slipstream, because that McLaren's really good through the straight line speeds and the corners.
Yeah, but we saw there the rear end getting very loose there. He had a huge snap of oversteer that he had to account for Poliakov there. So it's definitely caught him out a little bit. Campo got the job done, and I think he's going to be off to the races. The issue that these Lamborghinis have been having tonight, like you said, is this is such a thin track. It's so hard to make overtakes. These Lamborghinis, aside from the Porsche of Fox and Lang, these Lamborghinis have been the strongest cars here on track tonight. Way faster than the Ferraris. We only have the one McLaren in the field, so it's kind of hard to tell. Poliakov, we already know they are very fast, but it's definitely going to be frustrating for them because they wanted to keep that podium. They need a 1-3 to stay in the top here of the championship. So this is a huge battle between the 211 and the 13 car to get that last final podium spot, unless we see an incident from Wilmot, but we haven't really talked about Wilmot too much this stint.
Yeah,
Continue to take time out of that lead from Fox, though. So he's stuck in a little bit of traffic right now, but he is coming down. It was a 16-second gap, I believe. Now it's somewhere in the 12.5 is the last update on screen here. So.
Well, it's what we saw last time, wasn't it, with Wilmot and Fox? Wilmot was a little bit quicker and he got right onto the back of Fox, but this time, because the gap's that big, it's not going to come down. It's not going to come down as considerably quick, and it won't look as noticeable as before. Because the gap, I think if the gap goes from 4 seconds to 1 second, it looks better than 16 to 30, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, but at the same time, he is taking that time out. He is definitely having a better stint here. It's just like you said, there is such a gap that it's not as noticeable as we see this battle here between Santo and Stasic. Santo had an off earlier, and it looks like he's going to be okay this time coming through Tamburello, but I believe his off was through Villeneuve here, so he's got to be, kind of have that in the back of his mind here as we come back through Villeneuve as he's battling with Stasic. Stasic having that same issue. It's just so hard to get around. The Lamborghini is clearly the faster of the two cars between the Lamborghini and Ferrari. He just has no place to make a pass. And Whitfit not really getting away too far ahead of these guys. So if Stasic is able to make this move, as we jump back here to Giacomelli battling it out here, it looks like with
Berezovsky.
Yeah.
I was unhappy yourself, I think. Obviously, the team here, 1-2-1, they was, that is Armamentario. They was in the top 3, had an issue, left the lobby, joined back, was in the pits, they've had to swap drivers. They've had a really terrible race because of that. But they are one of the quickest teams on track, so I don't think it'll be much time before they get through on Giacomelli, because, Berezovsky and the person alongside him is Pamfirov. They've done a really great job now. Seeking to the outside for Berezovsky. Going to be just getting himself back through, isn't he?
Yeah. They're definitely, they had a rough patch there because of that disconnect. But, I mean, they have the fastest lap of the race. They clearly have pace. They were up in the second place, dropped back at a P3, right there alongside them. So it's definitely definitely a very fast team. It's just unfortunate that they had that incident. So
Definitely
watch this battle here.
Yeah, still, Poliakov and De Campo sticking right together with each other. De Campo, obviously, this time ahead of Poliakov, obviously into the top 3 now for Team Shizou, which would be another great podium to come off. It would be a P3 for them, so podiums all around for Team Shizou in the TSRC Championship. And Stazek looking closer than ever to DeSanto up the inside. They made a bit of contact. I can't see. We'll go to the helicam there so we can see it from a better view as they come now side by side down in towards Piratello to the inside line for Stazak now. As they come, will he get himself ahead? Surely he can brake later, turn the car in a bit later. Oh, it's going to be closer still. Stick it side by side, but I think yet DeSanto going off track a little bit there, so he's lost some time. So it does put Stazak now into that P7, a longer weighted move for, I believe that's also another Armamentaria. Yes, it is. It's Torpedo Attack Armamentaria. Finally, they get themselves even. I think there's about 4 Armamentarias on the grid. Because every time I see, it's an Armamentaria who's overtaking someone or being overtaken.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I believe you're right. I think it's 4. But it looks like he wasn't too quite Stasic or Santo wasn't quite happy with that move. Gave a little bit of a headlight flash as we came through Paratella, so they were side by side there for quite a bit. But what's that?
Ermakov's pitted now. He's the first of the top 5 to pit. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? Going early, same as Santo as well into the pits. So now where we are, Michael, we get now to the final pit stops. This is where everything comes in. The cookie will crumble here, and this is where we'll get to see who can take the top 5, the top 3, and the top 1. Because I think there's a battle for near enough every position, apart from that P1 and 2.
Yeah, and I think it's a little surprising to see these cars because we know how strong that overcut is. So to see them come in early, maybe they're just trying to get that get out into fresh air, but. I mean, that's such a huge advantage at this track, too, since it's so hard to pass, you know. Getting that gap of a car, like not having anybody around you, is so imperative at this point of the race. That's probably why they decided to come in early, but we just know how strong that overcut is. So maybe if you're Poliakov, maybe you're thinking about trying that. Now that you've lost the spot here to De Campo, maybe you're going to jump in a little bit early. Or, I'm sorry, allow that, jump in a little bit late and make De Campo go into the pits first and just try to take advantage of that.
And obviously, you know, we've been here for now over 2 hours. If you look at all these cars, what car do you think you choose to drive out of the Beamer, the Porsche, McLaren, Ferrari, and Lamborghini?
Well, okay, I got to be honest. I'm a huge Porsche fan. So the Porsche is the car, and although I'm not a fast driver at all, I'm very slow. I love the way the Porsche drives. It just feels right to me. But that being said, I haven't driven ACC in a long time. You were telling me beforehand that the Porsche is extremely hard to drive with the current BOP. So obviously the Ferrari and the Lamborghini, even though it's not very obvious tonight so far, as we see Julian Fox jumping into the pits. Lang is taking over. This is going to be the end of their stint. They are good to go for the rest of the race, assuming they don't have any problems, assuming there are no more incidents. Lang is in for Fox, and that is their final stint there. But to answer your question quite simply, I would give the Porsche a go immediately and hope for the best.
See, for me, I'm going to go different. I'm going to say the McLaren because I just think it looks so planted. And for me, I'm one of those, I like an easy car to drive. You know, I like a fast and easy car, and the McLaren is one of those. It's planted to the floor, the downforce is high, the understeer is there, but I prefer an understeer car over an oversteer car. So, I would choose the McLaren. I think so far, those two, considering they're the least used, the Porsche and the McLaren are probably the 2 quickest cars.
So far, they've shown that way, but
yeah.
I do got to say I'm more of a rally driver than anything else. Rally is kind of my go-to, my home, so I love a very loose rear end. That's probably why I would lean so far into the Porsche. But unfortunately, like I've said it before, my computer just can't quite handle ACC these days. So I haven't really gotten the opportunity to drive the Porsche in ACC. I'd be very interested to take one of these Lamborghinis for a spin, though. They just, like you said, seem extremely planted.
Yeah, the nice cars to drive. See, I think it's a bit of an unpopular opinion, and people hate me for it, but I don't like the look of them, personally. I don't think they're very appealing to me.
Give or take, you know, I mean, my favorite car as a child was always a Viper. So you know, I would never ever want to own a Chrysler or a Dodge at this point in my life. But my dad has a Ram, and I'm just anti-Chrysler. But that's just my personal opinion. We don't need to get into that. But growing up as a child, my dream car was always the Viper. The lines just look so clean, so beautiful. If I had the opportunity to own a Viper, that'd be the only Dodge that I would ever want to own.
Yeah.
But that being said, that car just wants to kill you, just like the Porsche. So I wonder if that's just
coincidence.
Just something that I've always been very, very fond of is a car that just wants to basically kill you.
Oh, well. Well, if I was you, I wouldn't recommend getting in the Porsche then if it's going to kill you. It wouldn't be an ideal scenario, would it? At all.
Yeah, I guess not. But that being said, we don't have the opportunity to see Igor Murdov's. How'd you say his last name?
Murdasov and Nazarov. Obviously, Murdasov, if he was here in the chat last time, there's a lot of talking points with him. He was sitting P2, binned it, and then he went on a bit of a murder spree. Killed about 3 cars through his journey. Great driver. He was quite quick. He just, I think he was a bit too impatient. It's a shame we don't get to see, because I would have loved to see what he could have done at the front of the field along with Nazarov. There was a quick pair, but it just went down and down like Schumacher raced, but they did end up finishing in that top 5, so it did work out in the end. But yeah, it just they tumbled down too quick. But if they stayed in that top 2, I think they would have been a real fight to Team 1. I think going into the end, and obviously you also had F1 Memes team who won as well. I think that between those 3 it would have been a really great battle as. Well, it was a battle formed between Polyakov and De Campo as Lang. Yeah. I want to see how far back is he to Willemot. I want to see the gap. I want to see if I can see the gap. Who?
Lang, because he came out in 4th place, I thought, but maybe the pit cycle just hadn't gone through yet, and he was just.
He did come out in 4th. Can't remember.
That's interesting. Maybe it's just since we're going through the pit cycle here. Maybe it's just
because I thought it was right behind Staszek.
I thought so too, and he was in 4th place. But I guess maybe there was a little bit of just a timing tower difference there. But
could have been. Yeah.
Another thing that I do want to. Rolando Mesa coming through with a drive-through penalty. I think that just popped up. But the 121 car obviously down. Berzakovsky down in last place, unfortunately, right now in running order. Obviously, we have 2 cars out. In 17th and 18th place, the 112 and the 22 both out currently. So Berzakovsky in 16th, the last current car that's still currently running. But that 121, him and his teammate Daniel Peniferov, they still have the fast lap of the race. I really wish they hadn't disconnected, because that would just absolutely be a stunning battle between them and Lang up front there, and Fox as well. So I really wish that hadn't happened. I would have loved to see that unfold towards the end of the race here.
Well, they're the only team with a 40. They did a 140.8. So they have got some real pace. And to be fair, they're still knocking through the 141 mid. So that, they're on some great pace compared to some of the others. As we head back through, Polyakov still trying to get himself through on De Campo. Can't get through just yet, but I don't think he's going to be too eager. I think, obviously, with Benjamin Lang closing in slowly, their main aim could be just to stick behind and just pull themselves along. Because, to be fair, Lang might be under pressure from Willemot, because the gap's 27, so the gap's 30 seconds between Willemot and Staszek. And then it's going to be close, I think, because it's a minute, and then it's about a minute and 10 seconds between Lang and Willemot. That's going to be close. That'll be about 4 or 5 seconds in it. So this could be a pretty decent final stint.
Yeah, this should definitely be very interesting as these cars start to close up as we go through. We see a majority of the field has now pitted. We still have a couple cars. The top 4 has not pitted. Berzakovsky obviously hasn't pitted as well, but they're in a race of their own, unfortunately, at this point. So we don't, not that we don't want to pay attention to them, but unfortunately they're just kind of back there in 16th place. Willemot, like you said, definitely having a pretty solid stint here. So it's going to be very close to see. Yep, you called it just there. They are in the pit, so it's going to be very interesting to see where Lang comes out. We'll have to keep an eye on this. This is your battle for lead. Yeah,
I'm going to go on board with Lang now as he comes through towards Aqua Minerale. Going to have to push here very heavily as he comes out of there now, down in towards the little back straight in towards Variante Alta. Obviously, you want to be careful on this curb down here. You want to eat the curb, but not too much, otherwise you'll just sling your car around as, there we go, jumps over, Great on the exit there. It was a little bit wide, but fixes it completely fine. Now he heads down in towards the two Ravazzas, and we'll see where Wilmot comes out, because he's in the pit still as we go down. This will be close, and still we haven't had him jump in the car yet, have we? Ryan Woodrow is still waiting, and I think it is. Oh, I don't think it'll be. Yeah, they've had a really slow pit stop.
At all.
No, it's not. That's not
here he
worked out at
goes.
all.
But yeah, he's not going to be anywhere close. Yes, Lang comes through right now. He's not even off the pit limiter yet, so he's still got quite a ways to go at 50 kilometers an hour.
Well, it's better. Is it going to be better than the 15 seconds it was before? It's 9 seconds, so it's come down to about 10 seconds. But
we'll have to wait a little bit because he is on his exit here, and it's gonna compromise him a little bit more. So we'll have to get around at the track one more time because Lang is just on an absolutely flying lap right now.
Yeah, and
so
I think Polyakov has been in a bit of a situation there with, I think that was the 343 of Enrubia. Yeah, he's tried to lap through, and I think he's lost time because, look, he's sitting over a second behind De Campo. So, yeah, unlapping that car's lost him time, which isn't ideal, is it?
No, not at all. That's going to hurt him quite a bit in his fight to get back on the podium spot here. De Campo right now leading the race, but overall, basically in third spot as we see De Campo coming in the pits. So this is going to be Polyakov's opportunity here. He's got clean air. He doesn't have to worry about the lap car that gave him so much of a fuss on the previous lap. He's got to put in a really, really, really good lap here. This is huge for him. And honestly, he might want to stay out a second lap just to kind of try to gain as much distance as possible. We know how strong the overcut is here. So this is definitely working out in his favor if it wasn't for the fact that he had that issue there with the lap traffic.
Yeah, and that's also Sazak just entering the pit lane as well. Polyakov, the F1 Memes Racing Team, staying out. Obviously, these were the winners from the Nürburgring race, a 3-hour endurance race. But today, that's not going to be possible. I think they're looking for a P3, P4 at best. Obviously, they will be P3, but it depends on what De Campo does. If De Campo obviously comes out ahead, then obviously they will drop them to P4. And I don't think the battle for P5 is much of a thing, because I think that's Ryabkov who's 30 seconds back. As we can see Ryabkov now coming through. In the 96, they've had a bit of a quiet last hour. They've been quite quiet, just kind of been settling in. Doing consistent 41.2s, obviously on the newer tyres as well. And we'll see now as he comes out the final corner, and De Campo just exits the pit lane. Sazek is going to be in there for a still while. He's going to come out now with Brunshit, who unfortunately had that penalty. Did into 15 seconds, which, if they did that after that 15 seconds, Michael, think about where they could have been.
Yeah, that would be a huge, huge, huge benefit for them. So possibly battling for that P3 here with De Campo and Polyakov. So it's definitely ruined the race quite a bit, but still P5 right now overall. It's not the worst thing, you know. If you're gonna have a race ruining penalty like that, you know, at least you're only dropping down to P5 instead of you know, tumbling all the way down the order. So he's still gonna collect a decent amount of points. So we got 3 more races after this. It's not over by any means, but like you said, it's so important to get that top 3 position to guarantee your slot in the grand finale with the GT3.
And if anyone doesn't know the calendar, and you don't know where we're off to next, we'll be off to Valencia, the street circuit, on the 27th of July. Then round 4, we're off to Spa-Francorchamps, and that's on the 5th of August. And then the final round of the season in the best track ever, Silverstone, on the 19th of August, where we round off the season. So only 5 races here, so, you know, you've got 5 races. But to be fair, the 3 hours each, there is 15 hours of racing. So there's less races, but because of how much time there is, you know, that does round up like a 15 race season of a 1 hour race, doesn't it? So to be fair, there is quite a lot of racing, isn't there? Still left to go.
Yeah, but that means if you have an incident in one of these races, it is just so much more crucial because it ruins that 3-hour race, you know?
Fair point.
So that is 1/5 of your season just absolutely ruined over one incident. So it's just so important. That's why it's such a big thing for Rybakov there in the 96 and Mikhail Ermakov to you know, I'm sorry, we were talking about Brunshitz with the 15-second penalty and he's fallen back into 7th place here, so that is huge for them because 5th place, not so bad, 7th place, not so good. So we see Nikolai Polikov just staying out just a little bit longer, still the last person to pit aside from Brzezinski down there in 16th place. But this is his opportunity. This is his chance to really just try to make that move and get around for P3 right now. Oh, who was off there?
That was Garza in the car 21 down off at Villeneuve. That was a close one there between Polikov and him, as obviously they've got 30 minutes remaining of the race, so we're about 5/6 of the race through. And so we'll have Sabirov in the car over Polikov when he pits, and I suppose maybe the reason why Polikov has stayed out so long is because of Sabirov's time limit of 100 minutes. Maybe they're close to that, so they couldn't pit him early, so they're going to have to go for this giant overcut. And I think also as well, when you pit on later, you'll have less fuel, so maybe they're doing this strategically so they have less fuel to battle with, so they could go for a bit of a charge through the field on the back, like of some of the likes of Zelch, who will be trying to get that podium for GT Omega. I mean, not GT Omega, sorry, for Shizou. And obviously, F1 means want that as well. So they're going to fight for it, and they're going to try and push as hard as they can. So having less fuel is going to really help. And obviously newer tyres. So this battle for the podium, I don't think it's over at all. I think it's going to be a great battle. And does he pit yet? No, he's staying out still. So we're going to go for a very short stint for Sabirov.
Yeah, that's you hit the nail on the head there. Just having the least amount of fuel on fresh tires is going to be such an advantage for them. So it's a great idea. We know the overcut works for them to stay out as long as they possibly can here, because that's just going to help them in the long run. And they are in such a close battle for that P3 with Zelch that this is just such a huge part of their race, just to get this stint, the end of this stint, so correct. It is just so crucial for whether or not they're going to get that final podium spot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great for each team. I think they both deserve it, respectfully. And also, another team that's made a really great charge at the field, Brabham Esports. Remember, they started P18. They're now looking for a battle for P9. They're in a really good position.
This is a solid recovery drive at the very least for them. And Mazzola right there in front of them. They have a very strong opportunity here to get around here. But at the same time, that Lamborghini is a very strong car here, so it's going to be very important for them to try to do everything they can to make this move as quickly as possible.
And so Brunschitz again, right to close to the back of Cody Cosford. Cody went very wide coming out of the Variante Alto as I head down towards Ravazza 1 and 2. It's currently P6 and 7 this battle is for, between 54 and 67. Also, just to make it even better for Brabham Esports, they finished 16th in the last race. So they have had a really good improvement there going into this endurance race. There's now still on board with Brunschitz trying to get himself through on Cosford as they head down now in towards turn 2. We'll go on to the bonnet of Brunschitz as he tries to gain and gain and gain, but he just can't get close enough now.
Yeah, his eyes must have gotten so wide when he saw the mistake there by Cosford, but Cosford was able to just kind of bring it in, reel it in just enough to not have to give up the position, and now he's just running that defensive line almost, but Brunschitz is just really just catching onto the back of him and just waiting for one more mistake, because he's going to be all over it. If that rear end of that Porsche gets loose, he's going to be all over it.
Yeah, as we come through now up towards Piratella, and we also have Regan Mitchell on the back of is it Simon, I believe it is? Yeah, Simone Metzola now, trying to get through on him. He's currently up in 9th and Regan down in 10th. Obviously going to go through the same section we just saw Brunschitz and Cosford. Obviously this is a battle for P9 this time, not the battle for P6, as bit of a bad exit there for Metzola is going to allow Mitchell to have a bit of a better run up towards Piratella, the double left-handers, before you go down towards Acqua Minerale. Very difficult piece of track, very easy to lose the rear of the car, so they now charge down towards there. And we'll have a look at the wing from Metzola as we can see. Mitchell there just closing as much as he can in the braking zone there at Acqua Minerale. Then up towards the hill, and the great exit there for Mitchell. Is he close enough into the braking zone? I think, will he send it? Is he too far back? No, he sits back. He thought better of that one as they head into there now. And looking back at the battle between Cosford and Brunschitz, heading out of Ravazza 2, heading up towards turn 2. Maybe we'll see a run from Brunschitz this time.
Yeah, that was definitely a very smart move to back out of that by Mitchell, but he has got the pace. He is all over the back of Mazzola as we watch Brunschwitz trying to make the inside here. I think he's going to have the inside line. He's going to have an opportunity. Oh, they almost touch, but he's able to get through, and Cosford had to back out of that because Brunschwitz left him absolutely no space at all to move to the inside for the second part of that first chicane. So that was a great move by Brunschwitz. Very brave, very late, and he did everything he had to do. And Cosford is, you know, he got a little loose there coming through Variante Villeneuve, so he's going to lose a little bit more time. So this is going to be job done and dusted for Brunschwitz, and it looks like he's going to have P6. Yeah.
He's got now.
Okay, Polyakov finally making that pit stop at lap 89, so this is going to be huge. See how much of a gap they have, how well that overcut worked. It's going to be a very, very, very close battle between him and Zelch here.
Yep, with Sabirov in the car now. He's heading at the pits, and Zelch is coming at the final corner. This is going to be a close one now as they head out. Zelch out of the final corner, coming towards the start-finish line. Sabirov now heading up towards the pit exit line. I think he will get him, will he? I think he might. It'll be close.
No, I think. Oh, I thought Polyakov was going to have it.
That's a close one, and also Ryabkov as well.
I think Ryabkov's a little bit too far back. So Zelch losing that P3 position to Polyakov. McLaren back up into the podium spots. And Rybakov trying to move up from 5th place to 4th place, but I think Zelch is just a little bit too far ahead of him now.
Yeah, on my screen it said that Sabirov was ahead, but no, Zelch is ahead at the moment, so that must have been a bit of a glitch on the timing screen. Says Mitchell also, looking for even Mazzola. Very slow through that section. I think they made a bit of contact because they went very slow through, and it seems like Mitchell was just trying to correct the car. So there could have been a bit of contact between these two now as they head down in towards turn 2 yet again, and Mitchell needs to get through on Mazzola, doesn't he?
Yeah, this is going to be huge here. Mitchell has been looking at the back end of that Lamborghini for a long time, and he got quite squirrely in the braking zone there, not able to get the move done. He had to back out at the last second, but Mitchell has been all over the back of this Lamborghini for quite a while now, and I would not be surprised to see him take an opportunity here. Is he going to try to brake late? No, he has to back out of that as well. I thought for a moment he was going to have an opportunity to go to the inside, but no luck so far on this lap, and that's going to be another lap around Imola for Brabham Racing back in 10th place. They are trying to move up into 9th place, trying to have a nice solid recovery drive. He's going to look to the outside here. He's going to put him on the outside of Paratella. Not exactly the best place to make a move, and he has to back out, and he got on the grass there as well.
Yep, they nearly made a bit of contact, didn't they, also, and that's one of the lapped cars. I think that might be Biancon sitting behind those as they come down now in towards Acqua Minerale. And it is Mitchell just trying to get back through on Mazzola. Can't get through yet, though. It's going to be a struggle, but he needs to get it done sooner or later because he's losing lots of time as he's just looking for a gap at the inside of the chicane. No, he has to back out, moves to the right, was hoping that Mazzola will go defensive, but he didn't. He knows the dummy there was made by Mitchell as they now head out of Variante Alta down in towards Ravazza. And now Mitchell really needs to make this move because they're losing so much time. The gap's 18.8 seconds. It was about 15 2 laps ago. They're losing so much time now to the rest of the field as they come through. We've got 22 minutes remaining. We've got no rain by the looks of it as it is clear skies for the next 30 minutes. So we have missed the rain, which is good for all the drivers. They know they haven't got to worry about putting wet tyres on and all of that malarkey as we now head down in towards turn 2 yet again. And this time Mitchell really on the back of Mazzola. Can he get himself through? He's going to have to pull to the outside line there yet again like we saw last time. Has he got a bit more space to go for it into the chicane? I think he has. Oh, they make a bit of contact there. Mitchell has to back out again. Mazzola doing a perfect job in this defence here, and he's got to be careful because it's a 3-3-3 of Rolando Mace. They're trying to get himself through as well to unlap himself. This would really ruin it for Mitchell if he puts himself ahead as they come through into the chicane, the Villeneuve chicane, and still they gap about 5 tenths, and Mitchell he's going to start getting so impatient. They're going to make sure they don't make contact because Mitchell, at this point, I know I'd be frustrated, and Mitchell definitely is for sure.
Yeah, this is extremely good defensive driving here by Mazzola, and it's just absolutely frustrating Mitchell so much. It looks like when he gets a little too close to the back end of that Lamborghini, he loses a little bit of front downforce. So I'm not sure if that might be a setup thing or if that's just the Ferrari itself just not having enough front end grip here tonight at Imola when he gets a little bit too close to the back. But it's definitely causing a lot of trouble for him to make the move here. So if you look a little bit once they start coming into the braking zone, if he's a little too close to the back end of that Lamborghini, he starts losing the front end a little bit. That time, didn't really see it too much, but I've seen quite a bit of movement here the last few laps.
Yep. And Pamphirov has just set the fastest lap at 40.870 again. He's improved his fastest lap by 0.1 of a second. So they're on a charge, trying to get through the field. They're not going to gain too much because they're a minute behind P15, which is a big, big shame. Actually, if we lost another car, we've got 16 racers. We've lost someone, I'm not sure who.
That was a long time ago. It was the 112, the Sim Station BMW.
Oh,
we haven't
yes.
had the BMW for a while.
Oh, I missed that one.
Fast 11 board guy.
And this time,
yeah,
Mitchell...
that one's been on for a while.
Oh, I didn't notice. I was, caught off guard on that one. It could have been why I went away. But now Mitchell trying to get himself back from that. So this is the only battle on track, really. We've got Ryabkov gaining back on Sabirov, but that's not much at all. But now Mitchell trying to send Mazzola into a bit of a defensive move as we come through. This is the closest he's been at Toaster. Can he go for it up the inside? I think he will send it. No, he has to back out at the last second. This isn't good because now this is Rolando Mesa, the lapped car, trying to get himself involved. And Mitchell does not want this at all. And this is what the blue flags are for. It's really annoying when someone tries to unlap themselves when you're a lap ahead because it really ruins this battle. And, you know, Mitchell doesn't want to lose to the P9, yes. There's the gap between P9 and P10. It's only 3 points, but it's still 3 points, and that can mean a lot at the end of a season. As we head through now into Acqua Minerale yet again for the 93rd time in this race. We've got 19 minutes remaining. There's 19 minutes left, and I think it's about 8 or 9 opportunities. For Mitchell, he goes for it this time. He sends up the inside. He hops the curve. They make a bit of contact. Can he make it through? Because that's also Rolando Mesa trying to unlap himself on both of them now. As they head down, they're going to be looking to go 3 wide. Down in toward Ravazza, and now Mitchell needs to get the run on Mazzola, as also Mazzola's going to defend from Rolando Mesa into the chicane. Into Ravazza. And does he make it? I think, oh, he goes deep. That allows Mitchell through on both of them into Ravazza 1. And now Mitchell, after so much hard work, does get himself ahead of Matt Tullen, puts himself into the top 9. But Michael, sorry, that was something that was inevitable. That lap car was going to cause something, wasn't it?
That was absolutely insane. The battling between the two drivers that are on the lead lap and then the lap car coming through and battling himself. I can just imagine James's forehead. Oh, there's contact down at the end of the straight. So that lap car, Rolando Mesa is just not giving up at all. They are just not happy with the fact that they are down a couple laps down in 14th place, and they feel like they have the pace to stick up with the big boys here, and I believe they do. But I could just imagine the stress that they must be under right now, especially if you're Mitchell finally getting through, just being able to take a moment to breathe, because not only were you trying to get past the Mazzola, but you had the faster lapped car just absolutely putting so much pressure on the both of you. And it actually ended up working out in Mitchell's favor, because once Rolando was able to get past Mazzola, he went deep, like you said, and Regan Mitchell just picked up the pieces. Off now to attempt to catch a Ruby, but with 17 minutes left, I think that gap is a little bit too. That hill's a little bit too steep to climb.
Well, with Mitchell back into P9, it's now the battle that we're going to look at between P4 and P5. This is Sabirov in the F1 Memes team, and it is Viktor Rybakov, in the Armamentario Community 96 car. So these two are having a bit of a battle, nothing too intense. The gap's just kept around that 1.3 seconds mark, but I don't know if it'll increase much more than this. I think it'll stick around what it is at the moment, because Sabirov gaining a bit on Zelch, but I don't think it's enough for him to make a move. So I think that's going to kind of stick where it is, the top 5. Woodrow is slowly gaining in on Lang, but it's nothing magnificent at all. It's a couple of hundredths a lap, so I don't think we'll see much evolve from that. And, well, obviously Zelch, he's a bit too far behind the top 2 to make anything work, so he's going to have to just keep and hope for that P3 again. Looking further down, there's literally nothing going on anymore. The gaps are kind of enlarged. We've got 16 minutes left. There's not much action, so hopefully we can see Ryabkov try and gain even closer to the back of Sabirov and create us a bit of a battle for that P4. As obviously P4, P4 and P5 yet again. The points difference isn't that much big. It's 3 points. It's 67 to 70, but you still want to get that position. Mentally it's good for you if you can finish ahead of, if you can finish P4 instead of P5.
Yeah, you see that carrot dangling in front of you right at the end of the race. You want to want to finish strong. You want to take advantage of everything you can. And I mean, to be honest with you, it's not like Zelch is that much further up the road. If Zabirov and Rybakov, you know, they might be able to make this a three-way battle for the final podium spot here as we come down to 15 minutes left. You still got a pretty decent amount of the race left, so that's only a 3-second gap between the three of them.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a little look at the race leader, Mr. Benjamin Lang, alongside Mr. Julian Fox in the Team 1 FF car. I'm not sure what FF means. It must be some abbreviation for something. But yeah, they've been doing a great job in the Porsche. They're heading down to Rabat now. We'll have a look at the car, and I think the livery is really nice, isn't it? I love that livery. I think it's changed since last week. I remember them having some sort of an orangey coloured livery, but today they've got a black and white livery, which looks really, really cool. As they now head out of the final corner, trying to chase down on, I believe that might be, I believe it might be Calandrino who's trying to lap now. As they head down, someone nearly a bit of contact between those two. Blue flags there. Blue flags are waving into turn 2. And I think Benjamin will brake late and get himself ahead. There we are. So Benjamin back ahead of the lapped car and just still securing that P1. 13 seconds ahead this time. No lapped car penalty, so I think he's going to take the win. I think with 40 minutes to go, it's going to take a lot of effort from Woodrow to try and take that down.
I think it's going to take a 15-second penalty, to be completely honest with you, going through this lap traffic. So, yeah, that's definitely got to be a very stressful situation after the last race for Lang here, coming through this traffic at the end of the race. But we know he's got the pace. We know he's very strong. And, I mean, we shouldn't have to worry about it too much. I think if you're Woodrow, you've got the distance between you and P3, so you can kind of just hang out and just allow this race to come to you at this point. But if you're Zelch, Zabarov, or Rybakov, then this is crunch time. This is going to be where you make the money, and this is why they're pros. This is why we're here.
Well, to be fair, I didn't think this gap would come down as much as it did. I thought it'd say the same between Zelch and Sabirov, but the gap's just over a second, 1.1 seconds between Zelch and Sabirov, and it's about 2.1 seconds between Rybakov and Sabirov. So now Sabirov putting down some really good pace. Obviously, F1 Memes would like to get themselves on the podium. So at the moment, it's a fight for a 3-3 for Shazoon. It's a fight for a 1-3 for F1 Memes Racing Team. And obviously, Rybakov, who's in car number 96, they finished 4th last round, so they wouldn't mind a P4 again. So they've all got something to battle for there, this P3, 4 and 5, as we come down in towards the very anti-outer on lap 96. 12 minutes to go. The laps are around 1 minute and 40, so we'll see probably around 106, 107 laps here in this endurance race. As we head down in towards Ravatsa 1 with Sabirov. 1.2 seconds to the back of Zelch's McLaren, a pretty decent car in the corners, very quick in the corners, obviously with it having quite high downforce. It's able to gain a lot of time on Zelch as he head down in towards turn 2 yet again.
Yeah, this has been an epic battle between 3, 4th, and 5th here, but I do want to. I know we're only 2 races into the season. We're not quite finished, obviously, with the second race here, but a small sample size technically, but 6 hours of racing almost completed. These 3 drivers here, these 3 teams, I should say, have been very consistent, going for a P3, P3, P1, P3, and P4, P4. You know, that's just absolutely the consistency as a team manager and a team boss that you want to see from your drivers. So this has been a very solid run, even though obviously they're battling for a podium here. This race isn't finished, but I mean, going back from 3rd, 4th, and 5th place, you got to be very happy with the consistency if you're the team manager for any one of these 3 cars.
Yeah, definitely is. Also, Benjamin Lang, Gajillian Fox, obviously part of the Team 1, they have led near enough every single lap that they have. So obviously, people who have not pitted will obviously be ahead, but I think in terms of actual being on that net lead and being in the lead, they've led pretty much every lap in these last 6 hours. They are a really dominant team so far, and I think unless they suffer some kind of issue in the next couple of races, I think they have going to wrap this championship up. They're already going to be on 170 points going into next round, which is great for them. Obviously, they're looking to take nearly 500 points if they can keep getting these wins after win after win. So
Trying to secure the championship after race 3, huh?
they are. They're going to try and do it. Obviously, I think it will go down to the last round because of how big because of how many points they're
Close
earned.
the points are, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be at a point where it'd be like, something like P2 would need to score 70 points to get ahead. It's possible, but let's be honest, I don't think we're going to see, the Team 1 DNF. So, yeah.
I do want to jump back to the chat real quick. Team 1 has been very conversational with us today. They were talking about the livery. Last week there was a carbon livery due to some sort of issue. So this is the white and black is what their car generally looks like.
Yeah.
So that is their livery according to them in the chat right there. And
Well,
also,
Team 1.
Yeah, Team 1. If you could tell us what the FF stands for, we would love to know.
And also, Team 1. Being as they've been so nice to us, we'll be nice to them. That livery is absolutely amazing. I really like it because it's like the black and the white suit each other because it's a black and white, and then also you can see that tap of gold, the goldy yellow colour on the wing and the side of the mirrors and the windshield. But I like how the black. You can see at the front, it's like a dirty colour. Like it's been like there's dirt thrown up. I don't know if that's part of the car just getting dirty or if it's part of the livery, but it looks absolutely amazing on that car.
It really does. I'm a big fan. I think this one looks very nice too. Saburov, the purple, pink, and the light blue. I'm a fan of that. That looks very, very, very unique and very sharp. I think it looks great on the McLaren, especially with the body lines of that McLaren, the way they have it. I'm a big fan of that livery.
Yeah, it's a really nice livery, and obviously now the gap's coming down. It's 3/10 between Sabirov and Zelch, so this will come down to the final couple laps. We're on lap 99 now, and we've got 9 minutes remaining. So this is going to be a really intense final couple of laps between these two now, as the gap's 2/10, 1/10 as they head down now in towards turn 2. Will it be Sibirov or will it be Zelch who takes the P3 into turn 2? I think it still will be Zelch. Yes, it will. So he just held it off there, going through to turn 2. And look at that exit though from Sibirov. He got a really good exit coming out of turn 4. Now he's just pushing his long side. Can he get it into the inside at the Villeneuve chicane? I think he might, but that was a bit of contact nearly between those two. And Zelch there just cut Sabirov off, and now Sabirov's going to have to go for the outside line at Tosa. Can he try and get it around the outside? I think it's going to be close. So they make contact. They make big contact. Then I think Zelch is round. Zelch has gone round there after contact with Sabirov, and that might be a penalty because that was an instant just smash into the side of now. Bruchitz, because he makes something work as he comes through now into Tosa. But I think Zelch has got it back around. Yes, he has. And what a big shame there for Team Shazoo, looking for a P3 and then they're looking for a P5.
Yeah, that was a big shot. We obviously didn't get to see the full end of that because of the tree that was in the way there. But yeah, unfortunate for them. That will definitely be looked at the end of this race with Zabirov getting into the rear quarter panel there. Now, we did see Zabirov had a great run coming out of Varianti Villeneuve into Tosa. He was on the outside. He tried to cut it back around to the inside. And I think that's where Zelch just not necessarily cut him off, but that was just his defensive line that he was taking. And, one thing led to another. So obviously the stewards are going to be having a huge, very close look at that with such big, circumstances surrounding everything there at the end of the race, going from P3 to P5 for Zelch. So we'll see if there is a penalty. I think I'm going to go ahead and agree with you. I think Saburov is definitely going to be in some trouble here.
Yeah, I'm going to have a little look there and try and see if I can... we'll see if we can find an update and see if there is a penalty going to be registered for those. We'll have a look now. If we go into the accident log, we'll have a look now to go to the race. Let's have a look. So, it has car 13 and 211. No, it's not, is it? Oh, yes, it is. So it's been submitted, and we're now waiting for the result for that penalty.
I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the chat real quick, and I'm going to feel really stupid. I hope you don't feel as stupid as I feel, but basically 1FF is an abbreviation for 144.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Right? I feel dumb now. The 144 is a big meme within the team because it appears everywhere, and that's why they use it for their racing as well. So 1F is short for 144, and I feel awful stupid. So thanks Team 1. I feel like a genius right now. But no, that makes a lot of sense. 144, 1F, you know, derp.
Now, Ryabkov looking to get himself through on Severov, and depending on what this penalty could be for Zelch, you could still have Zelch ahead of Severov because the gap's about 13 seconds between Severov and Zelch. If he gets like a 15-second, which it probably will be, then that could be still a P4 for Zelch.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
This could definitely still be a very strong situation here, but obviously a P4 when you're in P3 is not ideal. But
Yeah.
as we see, Rybakov is really pushing on the back here, Zabarov. So we could definitely see Rybakov up into the podium positions now. He's right there behind him.
Right, so it says it's being processed at the moment. The live stewards are processing that incident between Zelch and Sabirov, so we'll have the results soon on whether that will be a penalty. As we now head up with and Rubia fighting Cosford into turn one. And Rubia had to back off there because he would have took him out. But great little battle between those two, and it seems Cosford's made a mistake because he's lost lots of time, hasn't he? 15 seconds back.
Yeah, this was a huge gap, so I'm a little surprised here. Cosford is under pressure here from Rubia, but I think you're right. I think there must have been some sort of issue with that Porsche.
Yeah,
we almost see a second incident of the same thing there in Tosa, and Rubia really had to back off. He almost hit the rear quarter panel of Cosford there.
The results are in. It's a 10-second time penalty for Sabirov.
So that moves Rybakov in a third place, a net third place, and Zelch is 2.5 seconds according to the timing tower on screen.
He needs to gain a couple of seconds now to get himself back into that penalty window. But still, with the penalty, it would put Sabirov into P4. Ryabkov will take P3, meaning the Armamentaro community, Team 96, car 96, sorry, will take a P4 and a P3, which would be really nice for them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be absolutely a great finish for them, but you really got to feel bad for Zelch here in this situation.
Definitely.
He wasn't really at fault for that at all.
Really
we didn't
harsh.
see the entire incident, but yeah. So, as we see this battle here between Rubia and Cosford, what are your thoughts here on the Ferrari taking P7 away from Cosford here at the last moment?
It's a close one. I think it's possible because that Ferrari is looking decently quick compared to Cosford. Surely Cosford's got damage because he looks a bit slow, doesn't he? Especially in the corners. And there we are, the 10-second penalty just being popped onto the board. And also, Rabkov got very close to the back of Severov there as they head down now in towards, I mean, it's Piratella. There we are. So Rabkov still wanting to get the move on track as they head out of there now down in towards Aqua Minerale.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Zabarov, there's no more pit stops left, so they're not able to clear that penalty. This is going to be added on to their time at the very end of the race, so if Zelch is able to use some of that clean air and get within that 10 seconds, it's going to be a huge loss for Zabarov.
Well, Zelch has gained a second on the last lap, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. So he's definitely gaining some time, and it's going to help him out that Zabarov and Rybakov are fighting here, because that's obviously going to slow them down a little bit and going to help roll things back in Zelch's corner here a little bit. So we see Rubia really just trying everything he can to get around this Porsche of Cosford, coming through Minerale and up into Variante Alta now, but just no place for him to make the move as of yet.
Yep, as we now head down in towards Ravat, since 2/10 gap between these two. This is a battle for P7, and if you get 7th, you will score 61 points. If you get 8th, you will score 58. So only a couple of points difference, 3 points difference between the two. But still, like I said before, it's that psychological thing of taking that one higher position. You don't want to just settle for P8. You want to get that P7, especially when you deserve it. And also, another driver that we can talk about, Mitchell, he's had such a great stint, hasn't he? Obviously, off the back of a P16 last week for Brabham Esports, they're now coming in to take a P9, which is seven positions better than last race. So they've had a really good improvement now. There's also Ryabkov still trying to get through on Sabirov, but it's not close enough, and it's a big shame because they've both got the pace, but when you know... So, as we just heard that from Ryabkov, Team Radio, the leader is on the final lap, so Benjamin Lang There we are. He's coming through. He's on the final lap of the race, I believe, as he comes down now. Out of turn 2 and now in towards the Villeneuve chicane.
It's kind of crazy. This race is just kind of blown by. I know it's a 3-hour race, but I mean, already being on the final lap, I'm a little surprised. Kind of caught me off guard a little bit when you said that. Obviously, we are on the last lap, but this is going to be extremely close here for Zelch and Zabarov then. So this has got to be an extremely fast lap here from Zelch. He's under the gun. He's got to make up as much time as possible. So it's going to be very interesting to see where Zabarov and Zelch finish up, and it's going to be very interesting to see the finish of this battle between Rubia and Cosford. But that being said, absolute dominance out front by Lang and his teammates today. Julian Fox in that Porsche, the Team 1 Porsche up front, and they haven't really broken a sweat since qualifying. Well, since we started following along in qualifying.
Yeah, and the time has reached 0, so I believe this will be the final lap now. This Team 1 they've done another dominant race. Unfortunately, last time they lost it due to a penalty. This time they didn't make contact with any lap cars. They made it through safe and sound. There was Benjamin Lang for Team 1 in the car, 144, along with his teammate Julian Fox, who we can't forget. They come now up towards the line to take their first victory here, their second podium of the TSRC. You can see Benjamin there weaving about. He knows he's done it, and he crosses the line to win the race here at Imola and Woodrow. That's finishing 9th for SimGrid Esports last time out in Nürburgring. They come home to take a P2 here at Imola, and that is something they really, really needed for their championship. And there we are, P2 for them. And Sabirov, obviously, he's got the penalty. He's still battling with Ryabkov, though, as they come now down in towards Ravazza.
Yeah, this has been a very, very, very close battle, but it looks like, I mean, on track, Sabirov is going to have the P3 locked up. But unfortunately, like you said, there is a big penalty coming his way, and that's going to move Rybakov up into third place. So Rybakov finishing on the podium here. Excellent race here from that Lamborghini, and they've been strong all day long, the 96 car.
They have, and then Louis Selch, who unfortunately lost out to that battle at turn 9. It gave Sabirov a penalty, but it just wasn't enough for Zelch to claim that position back. So he'll come home with Shizu to take that P5. And then Brunschitz, who gained a lot on the back of Zelch, he will take P6 for car 67. And then Cody Cosford still arguing here with Enrubia, down into towards Vatsas too. And I think Enrubia is going to try his best, but I don't think he can do anything to take it away from the Porsche. As Cody Cosford, part of the Ballas Esports team, comes home to take that P7. And then Enrubia, right behind, will take the P8. And then we have Mitchell as well, who's going to come as well through the final few corners. He's ended up... Oh, what's happened to Mazzola? He was a lap behind. He's already finished. My bad. So Mitchell crossed the line a lap behind. So that's why he's already finished. And then Garza, the final driver to cross the line, he will take P13. But Michael, that was a really great race, wasn't it?
Barnstorming, like to have a 3-hour race like that, just finish up in the wall, just to have a little bit of fun there. But yeah, to have a 3-hour race like that and just have constant battles throughout the field, that was,
yeah.
I know you were talking about that from the Nürburgring, but until you actually see it, it's kind of hard to believe. That was such a great race all the way through the field. Really, really, really entertaining.
Yeah, and just to quickly call the grid. So, Team 1 FF, Team 144, have won the race there over about 14 seconds ahead of Simply Race Esports. That is Simply Race Esports car number 1 with Woodrow and Wilmot. Then Sabirov finishing third with Polyakov in the F1 Memes team. Then 4th is the Armamentario car of 96. That's Ryabkov and Ermakov. Then 5th is Team Shizu with Zelch and De Campo. 6th, Brunschitz in car 67. He's teammate alongside Stazak. Then Cody Cosford in 7th for car 54, which is the Team Ballas Esports car. And then Rubia in the 343. He finishes in 8th. That's in the Tyre Sim Racing Esports Iberico. And then we have Mitchell, and I believe it is car 62. He was alongside Paulik. And then the top 10, it is car 202, which is the SPQ racing team. Car 202, which is Ianon and Mazzola. And then the rest of the grid, Nateman, Kalindrino, Garza, Rolando Mesa, Biancon, Panfirov, Borodai, and Stamenkovic didn't finish the race.
Unfortunately there for Panfirov and the 121. they had such great pace throughout the entire day, but that disconnect from Panfirov led to him and Brzezinski just not able to, make any move. So that you gotta really just feel terrible for them as the session has ended. But this has been an absolutely great race all throughout the field. I'm so glad to be here today.
Yep, it was a great race. It was, I wouldn't say as interesting as the Nürburgring, but it was still a great race, in TSRC here for our second round. We'll be back on the 22nd, I believe, of July. We should double check. Yeah, we are. The 22nd for the Valencia race. Obviously, yet again, 3 hours of racing at the Valencia Street Circuit in Spain. Michael, thanks for joining me. Will we see you next time or not?
No, I think this is going to be, unfortunately, my last race with JPB Broadcasting. So, yeah, I will not be here. Most likely, there is a small chance, but most likely it will not be me.
Well, it's a shame, and it was great to be alongside you for the first time, Michael. I don't think we even spoke before this race, so it was a great one. It was great to be alongside.
Yeah, no, I had a great time tonight. Appreciate you letting me commentate with you, and it's been a blast. I absolutely loved working with you today.
So also thank you everyone in the chat who's been in today. Thank you everyone for viewing, and of course to all the drivers and also the admins and all the people who work behind the scenes at TSRC and JPB for making this series possible. And obviously one special shout out to Team 1, first of all, who won the race, and second of all, who was in the chat and being very respectful, speaking to us throughout the whole race. So thank you guys over at Team 1. So we'll be back yet again in 2 weeks' time for the Valencia Grand Prix. Everyone, have a good evening, and we'll see you then, and good night.